Tickets for the Scottish Gas National Open Swimming Championships are on sale now.
The wait is over.
Buy your tickets at ticketmaster.co.uk/Scottish Swimming or phone 08 444 999 990.
Come down to the Tollcross International Swimming Centre to come see me and more than 700 other swimmers compete.
The Scottish Gas National Open Swimming Championships, Tollcross International Swimming Centre, 3rd to the 6th of April 2014.
Was great, but I'm getting ready to make 2014 even better.
It'll be a great night just to catch up, relax, and as a swimmer actually get to dress up and look normal.
And then a chance to see lots of people from all around different parts of swimming and have a good evening with them.
The awards ceremony was fantastic, with most people turned out ever, so years to come it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Finally, the wait is over.
Looking for the perfect present this Christmas? Get a whopping 40% off official Scottish swimming merchandise. Simply go to shop.scottishswimming.com for a range of t-shirts, hoodies and vests.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Quipu's coverage of the Scottish Gas National Short Course Championships live from the Royal Commonwealth Pool in Edinburgh. See the pool there as we get ready for session 5 of these championships. So we've had some terrific swimming so far, and here to help me describe the action I'm Duncan McKinnell, and I'm joined by Andy Mayer once again. Good afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon, Duncan.
And this afternoon is one for the connoisseurs. We've got lots of 1500 metre swimming. We start off with the open event, men's 1500 metres. We've got the slower of the 4 heats, the 3 slower heats. The final heat with the fastest swimmers will be up this evening. But the swimmers today will be trying this afternoon to post some strong times against their entry times, and also maybe just to show that swimmers in the final heat this evening that they've got a race on their hands. After that, it's all the youth events. We've got the girls 14 and under 400 freestyle, followed by the 15 and under 1500 freestyle. So another 4 heats of 1500 for your delight then, and then a complete contrast as we finish off with the girls 100 IM. So with the focus on the youngsters mainly, and also the distance swimmers this afternoon, what would we be looking for out of this session?
Well, so far at this competition, we've seen some fantastic performances throughout the day. Yesterday was just electric, session after session. So sometimes that can be lost when the distance events come to the field. But I'd really be looking to see these swimmers take the race on, really be aware of the surroundings and the swimmers they have around them, and really try and set themselves into a really good rhythm for the 1500 swimmers and also for the 400 swimmers. If they're able to do that, then they'll be able to hold in a really nice long stroke and hopefully get some personal bests.
So it's an important event, I guess, for these younger swimmers, because here they're up against their peers, if you like. They're not trying to swim up against the real senior swimmers, so an opportunity maybe for them to renew old rivalries and to put one over maybe the swimmer that they really want to beat.
Oh yeah, definitely, and especially with some of the seniors racing out in the 1500 metre event that opens up this afternoon's session. We get to see some of those seniors and the skills that they already possess, and the younger swimmers will hopefully be able to take some notes from that.
Yeah, it's always good, I think, to combine these youth events with the senior events, so that the swimmers are mixing, the generations, if you like, are mixing, and the swimmers see the sort of professionalism that they can aspire to and emulate as they develop in their careers.
Yeah, definitely, and it's not just the swimmers here that can really admire the swimming that's going on and what we have here today racing. Also, those of you tuning in to watch can get in touch with us as well. So we'd love you to get in touch on Twitter. So with the hashtag SGSC13Live, we'd love to hear what you're enjoying so much about this meet so far. And we also have an Instagram competition that's running at the moment. The hashtag on that is SGSC13Pics. And if you tag your pictures with that, you would be entered into a draw with a chance to win one of 5 guidebooks to Glasgow. And in there we've got some of Robbie Rennick's favourite picks of restaurants around Glasgow. So so definitely worth getting those involved, and best of luck for anyone who enters.
So we'll be underway fairly soon. The swimmers are at the blocks and they're just completing their preparations now to get us going. You've got a view there of the swim down pool, still a few swimmers in that, probably not swimming down at this stage, but still just doing a warm up. They've got the benefit, of course, of having a number of different areas of water available for swim downs and warm ups, so you can tailor your preparation to exactly when you're swimming. That thing of preparing for your swim, did you like to get into the water at a particular time before your event?
Yeah, very much so. We'll watch the start and open of this racing, and then we'll take that on a little bit further.
So we have 3 swimmers going in the first heat, and they're away. And the 3 swimmers are Jordan Davidson of West Lothian in lane 3. He's in the blue cap at the top of your picture. Then next to him, Alistair Robertson of Aberdeen in one of the white caps, the one in the centre. And beside him, John Wright of North Ayrshire in lane 5. So they're the 3 here, and it looks like John is going to be first to turn at the 50, but of course a long way to go here. These swimmers entered 17:15 for Alistair and also John, and Jordan on 17:16, so in theory they should be well matched through the distance. Quite often it doesn't work out like that.
No, sometimes we can have a tearaway leader, and sometimes we can also have that leader then die off, unfortunately, through lack of real good pacing, and sometimes you can get somebody who's really back-ending that swim and really pushing through for a really strong finish. So it'll be interesting to see how these three race together and use each other to help themselves through this endurance event of the program today.
So we were talking about preparing for your race, so talk me through how you used to do it in terms of wanting to be in the water for warm-up and then going through into marshalling and just generally preparing for it and the build-up to your race.
Yeah, definitely. Within swimming, obviously, it's a very time-constricted sport that we work in. You're racing to try and hit a certain time, and we're actually trained and conditioned to always work to a set time frame. Training sessions, they don't just run on for an infinite number of time. That session will have to be completed in an hour or 2 hours or 2.5 hours. So we're always working to a pretty tight schedule as swimmers, and for me, when I used to get ready to race, I would turn up at the start of the session, and would get the start lists, which for those of you who may not be familiar with the sport, the start list shows all of the competitors for that session of racing, and it gives you their qualifying time, so it gives you a good idea of what their best is, and it gives you a real good tracking point of how many heats and swims there will be from the start of the day racing until you get to dive off those blocks. So once I had that piece of paper, Duncan, I would add up all that time, and it would give me a certain number, so possibly 2.5 hours to work with. and then I would plan back. I know that I would need half an hour before I raced to go into marshalling and also to get changed into my racing suit. I know that I would need half an hour of rest after my warm-up, so that's 1 hour accounted for right there. I'd need 30 minutes from my warm-up, so I'd have to factor that in, and I'd also want to factor in getting a snack after that warm-up before I race. So once I had all those factors, that's how I would pin it back. So it would give me the time that I would need to go into the warm-up pool to get myself ready for that race. And just at the top left of the shot, you can see the other half of the swimming pool here at the Royal Commonwealth Pool, and that's the 25-metre part of the pool which is being used here for warm-ups and swim downs, which is giving the swimmers exactly what I've just explained, the opportunity to prepare themselves right and carry out their warm-up, so that when they come to racing, they've timed that and they've got all that preparation as close as they can.
So it's all quite a disciplined affair as you lead up to it. And if you're doing a busy schedule, you've got maybe 3 or 4 swims in a session, how does that change it?
Oh, if there's more than one event that you're covering in the session, then the swim downs after each event are really important. So as soon as you finish racing, get yourself straight over to that pool, jump in, use your swim down protocol. So that could be 600, 700, 800 meters, sometimes more if you've been sprinting. It could be over 1,000 meters. You got to get that in. Make sure once you're back out on poolside after you've had a quick bite to eat, try and get re-energized, get those energy levels back up, and then you'll be in there ready to race again. So it's always important to know your timings as a swimmer, because the worst thing that you could do would be to miss your chance to step up on the blocks completely and let that race just pass you by.
Yeah, it does happen occasionally, but you just hate to see it, because the whole point of your day has just then been taken from you. So hopefully we won't see any of that this weekend. And we just look at what's going on in the water. It's John Wright who is really pushed it out here, and he has now got something in the order of half a length's advantage now over Alistair Robertson, with Jordan Davidson behind him. So he is pushing out very nicely, just coming to the 500 mark now, going through that 5:24.55. So he's been pacing around pretty consistent 66s, pretty much from the off after a 1:01 for the first 100. So that's fairly good going here for him.
And that pacing is going to be key through this swim, isn't it, Duncan? Because being able to stick in on that time means that he's swimming a really balanced race, and it's also going to help his energy levels, because he'll be taking similar strokes per length, and means that he's in a real solid routine. There's no real mix-up in his body right now.
Yeah, so talking to some coaches in previous events, they talked about the fact that you've really got to push it, particularly once you get into the second half of a distance race, because you think you're keeping the same pace, but sometimes actually it's just sliding away slightly as you start to tire, and so therefore you've almost got to think yourself faster in the second half, and just to maintain the pace that you were at.
Yeah, you're quite right there, Duncan. Not that I'm an experienced 1500 meter racer by any means, but I do know that any of my friends that are specialists at this event, they always say the same. They in their mind they try and negative split this event, which means that in swimming terms, a negative split is when you complete the second half of the race faster than the first half was done. So it's quite hard to do, because at the start of the race you're fresher, and you also have the dive off the blocks, and in their head, if they're able to get their head around the thought of negative splitting, that gives them a better chance of holding in on those times for such as the 66s that you were just talking about earlier.
Yeah, so we'll see if John can maintain that. Certainly at the moment you can see he's got himself a really healthy lead. You see as the swimmers come and meet there pretty much at those red markers are the 10-meter markers away from the turn end. So that tells you that John now has about 20 meters in hand from second place Alistair Robertson, and at 700 meters he turns at 7:36.52. So again, he's pretty much hitting that 66 time for his hundreds. So he's maintaining that very nicely. 800 of course to go.
And just checking the Twitter feed again here, Duncan, we've had a lovely text in from Sarah Matheson, who's sending a big shout out to all the Elgin swimmers that are here racing. So lovely to get a little bit of support through the technology that we've got running here as well. So to anybody else listening, if you want to give a shout out to any of your teams or any of your favourite competitors, then please send us a tweet in on the hashtag in the top right of the screen right now, SGSC13Live. And we'll once we pick those up, we'll get those shouted out to you as well.
And looking at the start sheets, first Elgin swimmer up is Sophia Green, I think going in the 400 freestyle, so I'm sure they'll be rooting for her up in Elgin. Meanwhile, John Wright at the 800, 8:42.56, pretty much metronomic here on the 106s still. That was 106.04 to be precise, so you can't get much closer to 106 than that.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job so far, and seems to be doing a lot of it on his own, because this is quite a quiet heat, and with only 3 of the guys in there, it would be so easy to just fall asleep and let it slip away, but he's doing a top job holding on those times, so fingers crossed he can keep that going, and in the end we're going to keep fingers crossed that he can get a personal best at the end of this long event.
He's certainly, I think, well on track for that. I think he's in something like 16:20s, 16:30-ish pace if he can keep this going. He's entered on 17:15, so that will be a remarkable improvement if he can hold it on. Of course, it will get tougher in the second half. Just about to lap Jordan Davison now, and that's a feature with these more inexperienced swimmers, that you will see these wide differentials in time, and Jordan's succumbing now to being lapped by John, so he goes through 9:48.
Always a handy little thing to have there as a kind of pickup point for him, and it's always a nice feeling if you can try and lap somebody in a race, I guess, and it must be a good pickup that he wants to really power past as well, so almost gets him into that battling mode just as he goes past.
Yeah, nicer feeling to lap than to be lapped, I guess. That must be a little dispiriting.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, if I had to swim one of these at any stage in my career, I think that I would have been in the position that was getting lapped, I'm afraid.
I don't believe that for a moment. So in fact, John was a little bit faster in that last 100. We got it down to a 65.5 in that one. So we talked about trying to up your pace in the second half. Well, he's actually seems to be doing that. We'll see if he can keep that going as we come now to the 1,000 meters, 10:53.80. And once again, he was under the 106. This time only by a couple of tenths. So he's still there or thereabouts in the high 105s now. But certainly no sign of drop-off. This is a very well-controlled swim from Mr. Wright.
Mr. Wright, indeed, not wrong. Is that a bad joke? Is that a bad joke to make?
That is a bad joke. You are allowed 1 per session, so you just used it up early.
In heat 1. Unfortunately, it would seem that I'm the one who's peaked too soon in this event.
With John Wright peaking, but not too soon, showing no sign of weakness here at all. And as you said earlier, it's a lonely race, this one, when you're out there on your own. You just got to keep it all going in your head. It's a long time to concentrate as well on just keeping everything going, keeping your stroke rates right. 11:58, so that was in fact his fastest 100, I think. That was under a 105, so we talked about trying to speed up in the second half. He is speeding up in the second half, so this is good stuff.
That's great, and he just watching on the screens there, he just had a cheeky little look up towards the counter boards, which are at the bottom end of the pool, just to have a quick look at how many lengths that he has left. So hopefully he's checking that he knows exactly where he needs to be, but always a shame when a swimmer has to come right out of that efficient position and have a look up. It's just coming out of that streamlining, and it's not best practice, is it, Duncan?
No, in America, I believe they actually dangle the boards into the water so that they can see it in their strokes. Is that something we should be doing here?
Yeah, definitely. There should be some better way than the swimmer, if they have lost count, having to come right out of that swimming position to look. So possibly something we could look into.
So 1,200 meters have been completed, and 13:04.17 is the time, and once again it's under the 106, 105.5 or thereabouts. Nice close up there for John, and just very smooth through his turn there. So this is a great exhibition of how to do it, and I think it's going to move him up the rankings in this quite a bit here, because I suspect that the second heat are going to struggle to go at this pace, I would think. Well, don't want to put the curses on them while they're just waiting, ready to go. Coming to the sharp end now of this first heat.
Nothing better than a first swimmer really laying down a fast time to get the next heat and the following heats, to really focus on the job that can be done, because middle of the day it's quite quiet on poolside due to some of the distance events that are going on. Some of the swimmers might still be having a nap or having a bit of lunch, so relatively quiet on poolside. So you would at any I guess now more than any time through the meet, this would be a time where you could switch off from some of the racing that's going on. So a great performance like what we're seeing here from John is something that's going to hopefully give a shake to some of the 1500 racers that are going to be following him, and as a result hopefully help a few more performances in the afternoon.
Yep, let's hope that's how it works out. You can see now Alistair Robertson is in danger of being lapped. You can just see his legs there as John Wright bearing down on him in lane 5. So, and in fact there is Jordan Davison about to be lapped for a second time, and by a first time by Alistair Robertson. So coincidentally all three swimmers in shot there, but all on different laps, with our leader on the bottom of the screen, John Wright. He's coming up to 1400 meters now, so just 4 lengths of the pool after this turn, and he goes through that 15:13.74. so he is really picking up his pace nicely here. That was 104 there, so he is possibly going to do that negative split. I don't have his 750 split, unfortunately, just been taking the hundreds, so I can't tell you whether he will or not, but he is certainly doing everything that a coach would tell him he should do. This will be his bell turn. You can see there the bell being chimed, signifying 2 lengths to go. 15:46, so entry time for John 17:15, so he's going to, I think technical term is a muller, that one. Here he comes down his final length then, and see if he can really just turn up an extra ounce of speed, use up any last bits of energy. Certainly he's got those legs going, the stroke rate has increased, he is working ever so hard, and that is a terrific swim. 16:16.62, improves by very nearly a full minute. It's fantastic stuff.
That is superb racing, and let's see just how the rest of the swimmers fare during the remainder of this race now. So we've got Alistair, who's going to be finishing on this wall here, and then we're going to have another 50 swam still to go by Jordan. So
Alistair coming into his finish. You can't see it on the screen, but I can tell you his time 16:54.08. So although he was lapped, he's still a handy PB for him as well. Some 19 seconds, entered on 17:15. Jordan Davison now getting his moment to get solo treatment. He's on his last turn now. He's going to be a bit off his time, I'm afraid, the West Lothian swimmer, but working hard down his final length. And here he comes, 17:34.43. So you should see those times summarized for you any moment now. As we see John Wright there. She's taking a moment to relax. In fact, it doesn't look like we're going to get you the summary, but I can tell you 16-16-62 there. John Wright, the winner there from Alistair Robertson and Jordan Davidson. So we move on to Heat 2, and we have Fraser Reid of Carnegie swimming in lane 1, Finlay Douglas of Geary in 2, Daniel Fisher of North Lanarkshire in 3, Scott McClay of Perth City in 4, Mark McRae of South Lanarkshire in 5, Ross Gale, Ren 96 in 6, 7 is James Lauder of Heart of Midlothian, and James Murphy goes in 8 for Ren 96.
So as second heat gets underway, let's just have a little thought about that first heat, and it's important to mention when looking at Jordan Davidson's swim there. We're unfortunately not able to make a PB today, Duncan, and on paper just looking like he swam somewhat 15 seconds outside his personal best, which in terms you would almost expect quite a substantial amount of time, but then when you break it down into the pool that we're racing in here, it's working out as 1/4 of a second per length, which doesn't seem like a lot to me, to be honest.
Yeah, it's sort of one of the points I think about distance swimming, where lots of little bits add up to a reasonable amount, and so if you can just refine your turns maybe, or your strokes, so that you can get that little bit of an improvement over a distance event, that can make quite a difference. One interesting swimmer to look out for here in lane 4 is Scott McClay of Perth City, of course training partner of Stephen Milne, who we'll see later on. Very promising young Perth youngster, just 14 years old, and he was very impressive in this pool at National Age Groups back in April. He was a runaway winner in his age group category, and so it's somebody that we'll be looking for good things from. Going through the 100 though, it's Ross Gale who has it by 100, 2:04.78. They're about 1.3, 1.4 seconds faster than John Wright at the 200 mark. And this one looks as if it's going to be more competitive. The two swimmers, McClay and Gale, pretty much of a muchness, and then two swimmers, Daniel Fisher and in lane 5 Mark McRae contesting third, and then 3 meters maybe back on the leading two.
Now this looks like healthy racing here, Duncan. It looks like we've got some good battles going on, and it seems like all the swimmers in the pool have somebody paired with them to give them a good race in the opening hundreds here, which is fantastic to see, because that's what's going to promote them to keep pushing hard, pushing through, and hopefully chase down these personal bests. So let's see how all these little head-to-head races go throughout this race.
So it's still Ross Gale just ahead of Scott McClay at 300, 3:10.43. So settling into a pace of a little under 106 in this one, about 105.6, 105.7. So we talked about lots of littles making a lot. That could amount to them picking up a reasonable advantage over John Wright's time. It's just these two, though, I think, that would be pacing faster than John Wright. The other 6 swimmers in the pool probably, well, the 3rd and 4th probably around his pace, and then the other ones behind it.
Yeah, quite a mix in the pool there going on then, and obviously unfortunate that John Wright wasn't able to be in the mix of this one right here, because possibly that could have brought him forward a little bit more. And that's the nature of coming to a competition like this, is a chance to get in amongst these guys and race head to head. I know that as an athlete you enjoy it when you're in there doing it. That's why you put in all the hours of training, and now as a commentator, that's why we enjoy watching it, because of the racing. And for those of you tuning in at home, we thank you for joining us, and obviously we hope that you're enjoying this racing as much as us. And great time to tell you that there's tickets on sale for the Scottish Gas National Championships at Tollcross from the 3rd to the 6th of April in 2014. So a good chance to come along and see some of the swimmers trying to achieve those qualifying times for the Commonwealth Games. So if that does sound like an event that you'd want to be coming along and watching, because you can guarantee electric racing there, Duncan.
They're saying that in the Commonwealth Games itself, they could have filled Tollcross 11 times over with the number of ticket applications there were. So if you missed out on tickets for the Commonwealth Games, well, the next best thing surely is to come and see the Scots swimmers battling to make the team. It will be very exciting. There's going to be a lot of real good head-to-head swims for the limited 3 spaces per event that are on offer there. And of course, they've got to make times. It's not just the top 3 Scots, is it? They've got to get the right time as well.
Well, if you do want to come along and watch these guys battle it out for those valuable qualifying times, then pop online and check out Ticketmaster at www.ticketmaster.co.uk/Scottish Swimming, or you can call them in their office at 08444 999 990. And for that event, tickets for the heats are only £4, and even the finals are only £6 on that, Duncan. So that sounds pretty good, and there's a great offer being extended to anybody interested in that at the moment. That if you want 5 or more sessions and you book them over the phone, you'll get a 10% discount. So everybody loves a bargain, right?
Absolutely, and certainly one well worth coming to. So we're coming to 600 metres here, and it's still these two very much in touch with each other, Ross Gale and Scott McClay. Just a second and a bit separating them, 6:29.01, and the pace has slipped a bit here actually. They're down to about a 67 pace here, so Ross Gale maybe just struggling to find the pace that suits him here, and that might open the door for Scott McClay here. It does look like he has closed the gap a bit in his last 100 metres or so. You can see there 3rd place swimmer lane 3, Daniel Fisher, swimmer from North Lanarkshire, and he seems to have opened up a reasonable gap over his local rival, South Lanarkshire's Mark McRae. Nothing better than a bit of a neighbouring area battle there, North versus South in Lanarkshire. As Ross Gale, the Ren 96 swimmer, trying to just keep his distance ahead of the Perth swimmer Scott McClay. Next turn will be 700 metres. Now John Wright went through this 7:36, so this is just a little bit faster, but only about 4/10, and with John Wright accelerating through the race in his race, these guys I think are going to struggle to match John's time.
Yeah, he's really put down a great marker for the rest of these boys to try and chase down. So just turning our attention to the Twitter feed, I want to say a big shout out to all the swimmers from Dumfries Amateur Swimming Club. Lots of distance swimmers there. Linda Dodd has sent us in a tweet regarding that, so she's wanting to send a lot of good luck messages to all the Dumfries swimmers that are swimming in this session. So thank you very much for getting in touch on that one.
You would think with 2 swimmers very much still close to each other like we've got here, that this will start to push them on, so watch out for that as they go into the second half now. This is 800 metres and there's less than a body length between them. 8:43.78, 8:44.50 for Scott McClay. They're about a second slower now at the 800 mark than John Wright was. So you think they would be wanting to try and pick the pace up in the second half, as John did.
I think that time might just be starting to slip away from them a little bit there though, Duncan.
It could be, yeah. You can hear some real passionate shouters for these swimmers from the gallery just alongside from us, so the spectators getting involved in this one. With a close race here, it's pretty tight. There is lots of noise. Are the swimmers aware of noise coming from the gallery to support them, or are completely oblivious of it?
I don't think you're ever completely oblivious to the noise, but it is hard to obviously pick out exactly what that noise is. You'll hear something as you take a breath, but you've got to remember it's just for a moment that your head's clear of the water to be able to hear anything, and you've got a lot of water in your ear as well, so normally it'll just be a distorted sound.
So it's still very tight here between these leading two. Let's just see as they turn there, not a lot in it at all. That was the 950 or 925 meter turn, I should say. And you can see there, they're pretty much on terms now. The two of them, Scott McClay and Ross Gale. Let's see who gets the touch at this time. It's still just Ross, is about a tenth in it, 24.76 at 9.50. I wonder whether Scott is going to go past him at this stage. I think he might have done. He's certainly looking slightly the stronger of the two of them at this stage. But things can change. Coming up to 1,000 meters, there's still a third of the race to go. And it is Scott McClay who's taking it on now, 10:58.25. So 107 split, and at this stage about 4.5 seconds back on John Wright's time now. So if they are going to pick up, there's some of the gallery, and you can see some passionate shouting going on there.
That makes a big difference. Any kind of support, any of that noise that you can hear when you're swimming, even if you can't make out what the voice, it's so important to have that support there cheering you on.
I think that might have been some of the Carnegie supporters groups. A big shout out to them. If you are from the Dunfermline area associated with Carnegie, give us a tweet for your support, because the crowd here is getting noisy. Looking at the Carnegie swimmer, I think that's who they're supporting. That is Fraser Reid up on the top. Hashtag SGSC13 Live is the place to give us your views. So 12:04.61. And down to a 1:06 there. So Scott is doing his best to just up the tempo a bit here.
Again, the swimmers just popping their heads up there to just have a little look at the numbered boards, saying how many laps we've got left. So starting to worry that a lot of the swimmers nowadays not quite confident of the counting as they're swimming through here. But in fairness, 60 lengths is quite a lot to cover, right?
You probably never had to count that far in your career, Andy.
Any more than 4 and I start to ask questions.
We did see yesterday, I think, somebody putting in a huge finish 50 meters too early and then having to try and recover in the last 50 that they didn't think they had to swim, and that is a horrible feeling, I think, because you've lost all your momentum at the end, and then to try and relaunch yourself, it's pretty much impossible.
That really is, but racing's all about gaining experience, Duncan, and as tough as that is to take at the time, it's going to teach him to not do it again. And the sprint finish that he actually did, and the attack that he had to the wall was fantastic. So there's definitely a lot to take from that race, even though the counting wasn't great that day.
Yeah, you can learn from your mistakes as well as your successes. That's the point, I think, there. We've still got a race on our hands here. Ross Gale is not letting this one slip away by any means. He's still right there with Scott McClay, so this one could wind up very nicely here. We're getting towards the closing stages now. That was 12:50 we just went through. So 2:50 to go, 2:25 at this turn. And still the two of them pretty much together. So Ross Gale is still knocking at the door on Scott McClay here. Entry time, Scott McClay 16:36, Ross Gale 16:48, so 12-second differential. I don't think there will be a 12-second difference between them in the pool though. 14.19. So it's around the 107 still. They are now definitely, I think, not going to match John Wright's time. They're about 10 seconds off that now. So we're looking, I think, at something in the 16.20s here. So still being good PBs. 16.36 Scott's entry time, as I mentioned. Ross is 16.48. So both of them, I think, will be inside that. But suddenly Scott McClay has opened up a bit of a gap here. 1:50 to go. And he's got an advantage of about a second now. Ross will try and close that down. In fact, he is. Give him credit for that. Scott made a little move and Ross has covered it. So once again, they're turning together. You can see their third place. Daniel Fisher in lane 3 just was in your shot as he turned there. The lane above Scott McClay. There's a swimmer in lane 2, that is Finlay Douglas getting lapped. He's currently in 7th place. And it's Scott Gale has gone back into the lead now, credit to him.
It's so good to see back and forth racing like this.
So it's getting pretty frantic now as we come very much to the sharp end. It'll be the bell this time. There it goes. You can see them ringing away there, briefly in your shot. And let's see who's got the sprint speed at the end. Of course, Ross, the 16-year-old, may just have a little more strength, natural body strength, than the 14-year-old. But as they turn, it's complicated by the fact that they're lapping a swimmer as well. But there's the two of them, head to head there into the final 10 meters then. This is anyone's race then. Who's going to get it? I think it's going to be McClay. It is McClay. 16:27.59. Real frantic start at the end and finishing on a 61 there for the final 100.
That's a brilliant finish to that race. Really, really great. Head down, last 5 meters, stretching for the wall.
So a 9-second advantage for Scott McClay from his entry time, and Ross Gale 16:28 against the 16:48 entry time, so 20-second improvement for him. Third, Daniel Fisher, 16:37, so he also lowered his best times by about 8 seconds, entered on 16:45.60, so well done, Daniel. Fourth, James Murphy, 16:47, also a good improvement. He was entered on 17:15, so he'll be happy with that.
Now comes into touch, great swim from all those competitors in the water. All black swimmers.
And the official result up there for you, all 8 swimmers. So Scott McClay taking it 16:27.59, Ross Gale second, and Daniel Fisher third. Heat 3, Hamish Milne of Perth City in 1, Joe Steele of South Aberdeenshire in 2, Donny Price of South Mainland in 3, Matthew Anderson of Warrender in 4, Mark Dean, City of Glasgow in 5, Suleiman Butt of Aberdeen in 6, Simon McCormack of Derwentsside in 7, and David Mulligan of Warrender in 8. Entry times here 15:55 up to 16:30, so this should be quite a bit faster than the previous 2 heats. Still 16:16 John Wright's is the time to beat.
So it seems like the action's starting to open up at the bottom half of the pool at the moment, with Suleiman Butt taking the early lead here with that real long stretching stroke that he has that looks so smooth through the water so far.
So just over the minute for his first 100, and he certainly looks as if he's set up for the long haul with that stroke. It's a strong, slow stroke to powerful as he pulls those arms through the water. Up in lane 3 and 4, Donny Price from South Mainland in the Shetlands and Matthew Anderson from Warrender are just behind Sullivan at the 150, 132.60 Sullivan, 132.84 Matthew. In fact, third was Simon McCormack. You can just see him there at the bottom of your shot. Derwent side swimmer, and he is only a metre or so behind Sullivan, and also going well there in 5 rather. Mark Dean's in that black cap on the other side of Sullivan Butt. So those three, a nice shot of them as they come to the 200 mark, 2:05.05. So they're settled into a pace of about 64.5. See if they can sustain that. We've got Butt, well, along with 3 swimmers pretty much alongside him now. Seem to get a bit of an advantage. Lane 3 there, Donny Price out of that turn. I suppose when you've got 63 turns, then turns become pretty important in this race.
It seems like during this heat we're not so much waiting for somebody to make a break from the pack, but also almost who can hold that pace for the longest, and which of these guys in this top opening pack of 4 are going to struggle with that pace and drop back.
It's almost like a 10k run where you've got this big pack running a lot of the time, and then gradually one by one they drop off. So let's just see how that works out. It's Donny Price just with the touch there, 3:09.44. That is the fastest 300 split from the heats we've seen. Reminder, of course, that the fastest heat will not go after this. It will go in the evening session this evening. It'll be the first race of the evening, so that'll be a good one to watch with the likes of Daniel Fogg in there and Stephen Milne. So a good Scotland-England battle there.
Yeah, definitely, with those guys being able to break that 15-minute barrier, which is really tough on the 1500 to try and get under that, and to have more than one swimmer able to do that, then an exciting race later on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. So make sure that you tune back for that right up at the top of the show this evening's session. These swimmers will be looking to set the target for them. It's Price and Deans now just 300ths apart at that turn, 4:13.65 the 400 split for Donny Price, so a couple of seconds faster than the previous heat. Donny, as I mentioned, South Mainland in the Shetlands, part of the Shetland team at the Island Games. He was their distance specialist there, just missed the medals. They got to go to the Bahamas, they did, so can't be bad if you're in the small islands. Go and sun yourself in the summer and then compete for your island with pride.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to do things. I think that that we need to try and start setting up some more of these trips.
Do you think they need a commentator?
I hope so. Well,
our services are open there. Sure, Quipper wouldn't mind the trip either if they need TV coverage. Anyway, 500 metres, and it is the Shetlander Donny Price who leads the way, 5:17.49, and that is a sub 64 there for that split. So he's winding it up slightly just to turn the screw a bit on the 3 behind them. He's got about metre and a half on them. Nothing much between the 3 of them, and then you can see up the top of his shot in lane 2, Joe Steele doing his best to try and stay close to the leading foursome.
I'm impressed by the leg kicks on some of the swimmers at the moment, Duncan, like how they're keeping that intensity, that pace coming off the legs. Donny Price in lane 3, that's got to be the real killing point that's making him get away from the rest of the group, and especially with that kind of kick. I know we've got the anti-wave ropes, but Matthew Anderson, who's in lane 4, he's going to be right on that wave, getting getting all that splash there. So important to use the legs on an event like this, and sometimes that kind of gets missed by some of the distant swimmers. So really nice to see that that nice present leg kick here.
Yeah, sometimes you see them almost using their legs as a rudder rather than as an engine for a lot of these distance races, but certainly that's not the case here. So that's quite a big disadvantage, is it? Getting that wave at that stage when you're just that bit more than a body length behind, that really start to get on your nerves.
Well, there's always one thing to do about it, and that's swim faster and get past it, right?
Well, that's right, yep. And making a little move maybe in lane 5 is Mark Deans of City of Glasgow. Mark Deans, an open water specialist, is one of a group of open water youth swimmers from Scotland who was out in Europe competing at a very high level over the summer. So one thing you can be sure of, he is not going to fall back here, I wouldn't have thought, because he can keep on going and going. Warren, the swimmer in between them, Matthew Anderson, and does look like Suleiman Butt, the early leader, is just falling away now. So we might be down to 3 here, with Donny Price leading Anderson and Deans. 7:58.63 at the halfway point.
They're looking nice and level at the moment though with their pacing, which is always good, and so important that they get their diet right when they're running into a swim meet like this, and making sure that they're eating the right kinds of foods to fuel them through such a long distance event like this. Making sure that they're eating a lot of their carbohydrates and those slow release energy foods, so baked potatoes and sandwiches, anything like that with these kinds of kind of ingredients in. So no doubt these guys have been on their peanut butter sandwiches or something like that today, rather than their Mars bars and energy drinks, right?
That's why I wasn't a distance swimmer then, because I just hate peanut butter. And this is shaping up very nicely here with these 3 swimmers showing no sign of anyone getting away. Donny Price has made his move, but he may be getting sucked back in now by the other 2. Matthew Anderson in particular looks to have an intent about him in lane 4, and he has got it down to about a metre now, in fact less than that, right up against the lane road there, so they're very close together there swimming, the 2 of them. 9:35.68 for Price. Still has the advantage and is still going in the 64 and change pacing, so he's not slipped back. It's Anderson who's upped his game and Dean's following him, so the 3 of them pretty much stroke for stroke now.
He's making his move here with quite a lot of the race still to go here, so very interesting that he's managed to drop level, and he's showing real racing intent now, so be exciting to see how this progresses from here if the other 2 boys are able to try and match, keep that going.
Well, I think, you know, saying 2, but it's still very much 3, because Mark Deans is still biding his time, I think, in lane 5, and he is certainly right there with the 2 now side by side. Donny Price and Matthew Anderson. Matthew, a 17-year-old, Donny as well. Mark has the year on them, he's the 18-year-old here. Matthew Anderson was 8th in this event last year, bronze in national age groups in this pool in April. So we did our test broadcast at that event one of the days there, which was a lot of fun. Had a terrific response. As a result, here we are again, and it is Matthew Anderson who is taking this one away here. Now, can the others stop him from pulling away.
Yeah, he's really arrived at the party now, hasn't he?
So it looks to be saying, catch me if you can. I think maybe the others maybe just slipping off in pace, actually, because the pace now about 65. It was 64s, and so obviously Matthew leading the way. The others are a little slower than that at the moment. So we are, I think, now at a fairly critical juncture here. Matthew Anderson about a second and a half up now. So the other two need to stop the rot here if they are to stick with him. Side by side still, Price and Deans.
It's tough to see on this one though, Duncan. It's, you know, I would have hoped that if they were going to respond to that breakaway, then we'd be seeing some kind of difference, some snappy turns or something. But the boys look like they're just sticking on that pace at the moment, which is a good pace for them. But it doesn't look as if they're going to be able to track him down on this race at this point.
No, Matthew looked to decide that enough was enough at around the 1,000-meter mark, and he's made his move now. And as they are coming towards 1,200 meters, he's got about 3-4 meters now, 12:47.85, and he has picked up his pace. They're back on the 104s here, or at least Matthew is. And you can see there the size of the lead, and it is just about 5 meters now. The length of the red markers is 5 meters. The two of them still side by side for second place, Price and Deans. It doesn't look like any of them can do anything about Matthew Anderson here. Still a fair way to go.
Yeah, just over 200 meters to go now, haven't we, Duncan? So it's still enough of the race for them to try and track back, but it just looks to me like Matthew Anderson, he's made his break. He's not tiring at the moment, and he's just extending that lead all the time, which is great to see.
Yeah, he is looking very strong. He obviously feels very confident at this stage. 13:51.79 is just under the 64 for that last 100. So add maybe 3:12, maybe take a couple of seconds off for a sprint, 3:10 on that, and you're talking about... In fact, I've got that completely wrong because it's 200 to go, isn't it? So let's try that one again. Maybe about a 2:06 for his last 200, maybe something like that. So he should come in ducking in under the 16 minutes. Entered on 15:55, so maybe a there or thereabouts. Certainly he's broken the back of this race now. Nobody's going to get close to him.
So do you want to call a time just for fun now?
Right, 15:57.
Oh, 15:53. I'm calling a PB.
Okay, that's going to have to really put in a strong last 100 if he's going to do that. Let's hope you're right. So I'd much rather have a PB than not. 14:55 with 100 to go.
So looking for a 58 split on this last one here for me, Duncan.
Yeah, that's quite an ask.
Forever the optimist. Come on, Matthew.
But you never know. He could do it. He'll get the bell this time. Donny Price has just opened up a bit of a gap on Mark Deans in second place there. That beautiful wide shot shows you all the swimmers. And that battle for second with the white cap of Price ahead of the black cap of Deans. But there you go, in lane 4, Matthew Anderson of Warrender coming to his final turn. Now get in about him. He needs about a 10-second final 25, and it's not looking good for you.
It's not looking good, but come on, big man.
Come on, Matthew, dig in here.
Oh, the PB just passing him by there, but
yeah,
still.
It's a good swim. 15:57.73. What was my prediction, Mr. Mayor?
I feel you may have called that right. Congratulations on that, a very good spot.
Congratulations to Matthew Anderson, he did the work there. 15:57.73. second, Donny Price, 16:03.28, and Mark Dean's third, 16:05.90. In fact, Simon McCormack there, just slipping in for third. I just didn't see that coming in lane 7. 16:04.53 for him, just getting ahead of Mark Deans at the end there, so good swimmer there, coming in. And Simon entered on 16:30, so he'll be well happy with that. And the summary should come up for you. And there it is, Matthew Anderson, 15:57.73, Donny Price second, 16:03.28, and Simon McCormack third, 16:04.53. So here's the summary as we go with the final heat to go. So that time from Matthew Anderson will be the time for the final heat to beat, 15:57.73, and there's the remaining swimmers. There's a shot of the crowd there, some nice camera action there. That's a big one. And some knitting as well. You always get to get those Christmas jumpers ready in time. So let's get them going. Very nice shade of lilac. That's somebody's Christmas jumper. Oh dear, we've given it away. That was supposed to be a secret. Next up, we've got the girls 400 freestyle.
Somewhat of a sprint now after them 1500s now, Duncan.
Yep, 7 heats to go here. This is 14 and under, so the youngsters, 12s, 13s and 14s all involved in this one. Those swimmers just being stood down for the moment, so not quite sure what the issue is, but we've just got a little bit of a delay here. We talked about that earlier, about just keeping the focus when things like that happen. You were all set to go, just ready to get on the blocks and then stood down. But just keep that focus. You can see they're doing that, just getting into the actions, making sure they're loose, making sure those goggles is exactly right. Just get yourself still mentally in the zone.
Yeah, it's so important for them to stay composed at that final point and make sure that don't let their mind wander away from the job. So hopefully the girls are doing a good job at that.
So some of our pool staff here at the Royal Commonwealth Pool off to their duties there as we wait, and I think we're just about ready to go, or are we? Maybe not. So it doesn't look like it. So
poolside's nice, and it's a nice temperature here for the summer. Sometimes you go and race at pools and it's really cold, and as soon as you start to get yourself ready to step up onto the blocks, your body starts to feel that cold. So then if you're held, and especially in an outdoor pool, you're then held at the start, then it can be a bit of a worry trying to keep that heat up of your body. Whereas here we're indoors, it's a really nice poolside, a really warm atmosphere here. So hopefully the girls are able to keep themselves right on that start.
Nice shot of some of the coaches there in the blue. That's Graham Wardell. He's going to be the head coach of the Scotland team next year in Glasgow, so he's got an important job. Of course, head coach at City of Glasgow, Robbie Rennick's coach there, and he's clearly having a fairly intense chat. I think that might be Mark Deans, who just came out of the water, who he's talking to.
Yeah, crazy thing. I was actually away on holiday to Croatia in the summer, and as I get to the airport to fly out of Gatwick, I actually bumped into Graham and Mark. They were heading off to an open water event just on one of the Croatian islands. So you never know where you're going to run into people, or even where they're going to host these open water events. So yeah, just can't seem to get away from swimming these days.
So if you're from the Shetlands, you get to go to Bahamas. If you're an open water swimmer, you get to Croatia. Yeah, you become a swimmer and see the world. Certainly Graham Wardell is giving him what for here. He's certainly got a lot to say here about how that race went, and Mark listening patiently.
Such an incredible coach though, Graham, and got a great way of putting his points across to his swimmers. I've had the opportunity to work with Graham a few times in my swimming career, and I always felt him such a motivational coach.
And on the right in the black is Gary Patterson, the South Aberdeenshire head coach. He's also having a debrief with his swimmer just out of the pool. I think that will be Joe Steele, who was in that last heat. So he is getting a similar debrief as to exactly what went well, what can be worked upon.
Yeah, Gary being probably one of the main named coaches behind Sterling's breaststroke specialist Kerry Buchan, who was part of that relay last night that broke the Scottish record. Anyway, guys, we're back to the race in here now.
And I think we've got a bit of a change to the start list here, with a reserve coming in lane 5, and that might have been some of the reason for the delay. Also, no swimmer going in lane 8. So the field is Kirsty McGinley of Wren 96 in 1, Claire Lee of Carnegie in 2, Abby Mitchell of South Lanarkshire in 3, Gemma Brown of First in 4. Coming into 5, the reserve, Lindsay Sword of First. 6 is Kate Saxon of South Lanarkshire. 7, Freya Thompson of Perth City. So it is lane 5, the reserve, who is taking full advantage early on. She's off to a good start. So in lane 7 is the Perth swimmer, Freya Thompson. They are pretty much together there at the 75-metre turn. So fairly competitive coming to the 100 here. Let's see who gets the touch. It is Freya Thompson, 106.53.
So a couple of the girls really battling it out for the lead on this one here, Duncan. And it's always great to see the swimmers in the outside lanes getting involved in the action right from the word go. If you don't put yourself out there into the race, then you've no chance of getting those great results, those great personal bests. So we're seeing this fantastic right from the beginning here.
Of course, remember that that swimmer in lane 5, who's right there in the action, is the reserve. Up to presumably 5 minutes ago, she didn't know she was getting a swim, so that is all about getting into the zone quickly, because she's right up there. Although a little break now from Gemma Brown, her first colleague in lane 4. She's about a body length up now, so could be an important break as we come towards halfway. She has body length on the swimmers around her. We focus there on the centre lanes. Remember, of course, in lane 8, not far away, Freya Thompson also in that mix, but Gemma Brown leads them through halfway to 18.43. Of course, Freya in lane 7.
So they're on track for best times at the moment if they can try and keep this kind of rate and this rhythm going. So fingers crossed on this.
Yep, so talking about something I would think in the low 440s, Gemma on a 450 entry time. So 8-9 seconds maybe to be knocked off that if she can keep this going. And she has still a body length. Over at the top of the pool is Kirsty McGinley of Wren. She's going well, so they're coming from all parts of the pool now. Not too far behind Gemma Brown. And she's going to take some catching.
Yeah, great to see that Gemma's breathing to both sides though, so bilateral breathing at the moment, so she can see what's happening all around the pool. So that's going to keep her eyes on these competitors, and if somebody tries to make a break for it, then hopefully she should be able to spot it and react accordingly. Yeah?
Yep, I think that's exactly what she's doing here. She comes to 300, 3:31.51, so around about 1:13 there. So the pace just slightly slipped there in that third 100, down to a 1:13 from a 1:12, but still comfortably inside her entry times, and you'd expect her maybe to pick that pace up again in this final 100, particularly the last 50. Going really nicely in lane 1, Kirsty McGinley of Wren. Her entry time 4:51.
She's doing a fantastic job here, moving up into second position, and I think that she's gonna try and hunt her down in this final stage of this race.
And she's got quite a lot to make up. She's 2 seconds back with 50 to go, but let's see if she can work that. Lindsay Sword, the reserve, still going really nicely in lane 5. But that's your shot of the leader, Gemma Brown, coming to the final turn, and I can't see her being caught now. She is looking good here. I mentioned 4:50.34 her entry time there at the top of the screen. Kirsty McGinley, she's looking good for second. And I think third will be Lindsay Sword. So it's Gemma Brown who takes it 4:43.55. So a nice 7-second improvement on her entry time. Second, I think, will have been Kirsty McGinley. And third, Lindsay Sword. So a smile for her swims there, so obviously happy with that. And definitely pleased with her work, and there is the summary briefly for you there. Brown first, McGinley second, and third, Lindsay Sword. So on to Heat 2, Kiana McInnes of Hearts in 1, Emma Scully of North Ayrshire in 2, Ailey Collier of Carnegie in 3, Laura Harrison of Highland in 4, Megan Bowie of Aberdeen in 5, Jenny Adams of Best in 6, Katie Wilson of Aberdeen in 7, and Mary McGurran of Maidenhead in 8.
So lane 3 taking this one out for us here, Ailey Collier. Really using her legs already in this this opening part here, Duncan. Can you see how it seems to be really driving her forward? The arms are just stretching out in front, but the leg kick seems really dominant at the moment.
Laura Harrison, though, up alongside her pretty much now in lane 4. So these two, with about 1.5 meters advantage on a group of 4 swimmers behind them. And Laura, I think, coming out of that turn in the silver cap in lane 4 there, just has the edge now over Ailey Collier as they come towards the 100. And Gemma Brown's split was 1:06.53 here. So this is about a second faster, 1:05.51. And a gap of 4/10 between Laura and Ailey. With, you can see there in the dark cap in lane 6, Jenny Adams of Best, the Borders team. Kelso-based Jenny in the southeast Borders, and beside her the Aberdonian Megan Bowie, swimming in the Aberdeen programme, head coach Alison Lowe. Number 150, Laura Harrison, the Highland swimmer.
Still pretty even for all the girls who are battling out for second place at the moment, so that place really up for grabs at the minute. A few of the girls still capable with enough of this race still left to really grab hold of that position.
So you think that Laura's away?
So far, yeah, I think that that she seems to be stroking really well, and she's got the clear water out in front of her at the moment, which is always helpful.
And the halfway mark then, Laura going through to 17.14, so about 1.3 faster than the previous heat.
Let's keep an eye on Jenny Adams in lane 6 from Best. She's really carving it out at the moment. So, and she's only every so often going to her legs, which kind of gives me the feeling that she's still got a little bit in reserve when we start to come into the later stage of this race. So let's just see if she can try and get on terms with the leader and start challenging for the win.
Yep, so it could get interesting. We've maybe called that too early when we thought Laura was away, because Jenny has different ideas here. 2:53.68, she's only a second back, still 150 to go. And I think that lead is shrinking pretty much with every stroke now. Third place is the Aberdeen swimmer. That's Megan Bowie. Okay, Andy, a chance to recover your position. The prediction is who's going to win this one?
Well, I'm going to. I'd love to take lane 6, please. I think that, yeah, at the moment, closing the gap really well. I think that, yeah, I'd choose lane 6.
Yeah, well,
do you want to join me on lane 6?
I think I'm with you on lane 6, although I'm not convinced that Laura Harrison's going to give this up.
Well, you can't have both the lanes here, Duncan.
Okay. All right, just to give you a chance, I'm going to go with lane 4 then. I'm going to stick with Laura Harrison here. This is going to be pretty tight, I think. They're coming to the 350. Certainly, I think Jenny is going to turn in the lead with 50 to go. Not a lot in it. Oh, 100th in it. So it's all to play for in the final 50 here. 4:08.21 plays 4:08.22 as they go into this final 50.
So and no change on the third place at the moment. So we're just going to intently watch the leaders of the race.
And Jenny had a good penultimate length there. She opened up about half a length there. So Laura needs to come on strong. If I'm going to be proved right here, I think you're going to get this one, Andy, because Jenny Adams is looking very strong here. She's coming home to take it by about 1.5 meters now. 4:44.08. I think you conned me out of that one. I was going to go for lane 6, and you talked me out of it.
I almost. I almost kind of pressured you into taking the other choice there, but either way, great racing from the girls there, though. That's what it's about, getting in a battle against someone else. So you were kind letting me choose on that one, though, I feel.
Jenny Adams, though, an excellent race there, well controlled there. 4:44.08 with second place Laura Harrison, third place Megan Barry. Good stuff. So we move on to Heat 3. Alexandra Clements of City of Sunderland goes in 1. Sky Redford of St Thomas in 2. Amy Henshaw, City of Sunderland in 3. Shannon Crawford of Keary in 4. Claire Maloney of Carnegie in 5. Sophie Dodd of Dumfries in 6. Kate Lilly of South Lanarkshire in 7. And Elizabeth Clements of City of Sunderland in 8. So 2 Clements. I just wonder if they are sisters there from Sunderland. Let us know if they are. And I think we had some tweets from the Dodds family, didn't we? So Sophie in the water here.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on Sophie in lane 6 there in the white hat, as she has the fast racing going on either side of her at the moment, which it's an exciting place to be when it's all there around you, because then you can get in the mix of it. We're watching Claire Maloney at the moment really open this heat up in lane 5, and a fantastic job stretching forward. Another Carnegie swimmer coming through and getting involved in the front pack. So they're really producing some fantastic talent at the moment.
Yeah, about a tenth faster than the previous heat at the 100 mark. So good start from Claire. I think we saw her do a really strong 800 yesterday. So obviously nicely set up for this meet. And she's got a pretty good advantage here now.
Yeah.
Look at that, a line of swimmers there. You can see 5 in your shot, all in a line. And tell you up on the top there as well, just coming to shot now. Alexandra Clements with them as well. So 6 of them all there, battling for second place. That's held by Amy Henshaw narrowly. 1:43.05, 2.5 seconds back on Claire Maloney. So she is very much the favourite here.
She is, but you're right, tenths of seconds split all the swimmers who are from second to about 4th or 5th position there. So this is really tight at the following pack of swimmers. But like you say, Claire Maloney doing a great job out at the front there. Clear water ahead of her, really stretching forward. So turning at the halfway point there. So it'll be interesting to see how she continues this through in this second 200, and let's see if some of the girls can try and close that gap a little bit. We're getting a nice challenge coming on from Amy Henshaw, lane 3 from City of Sunderland. So we'll just keep an eye out for that one, Duncan, see how that progresses through.
Yep, she is there, and then we see Sophie Dodd in lane 6 in 3rd place, just ahead of the Geary swimmer Shannon Crawford. And there's your leader going through at 250 meters, 251.46. Her lead is just about 3 seconds over Amy Henshaw in second, Sophie Dodd in third. There's Amy in the red cap at the top of your screen. Sophie now in the white cap, just saw there. And coming back into your shot now in third, and the Geary swimmer behind her, Shannon Crawford. Hashtag SGSC13pics. Get your photos in.
Of course, that'll go into that competition to win one of the guidebooks, so definitely worth getting snapping some photos for us, guys.
So about 70.5 split. Yeah, so I think we're looking at something in the mid 430s here. Entered on the 445 for Claire.
Not seeing much change in that that distance, that 3-second distance between our lead swimmer in lane 5 and the challenge coming from lane 3. So relatively safe for that lead at the moment, do you think, Duncan?
Yes, I think so. We saw, of course, a big comeback in the second half in the previous heat from Jenny Adams, but I don't think we're going to see anything similar here. The lead is over 3.5 seconds now. Henshaw second, Dodd in third. 2 seconds between them, so I think that is looking like the 1, 2, 3 now, as I can't see fourth place. Shannon Crawford challenging for third either, but there is your leader, Claire Maloney, with about 4 meters in hand over Amy Henshaw, coming down the final length then. As I mentioned, her entry time, Claire's, was 4:45.66, so good improvement on that, 4:37.47.
It's great swimming there.
So the new fastest time. Looks around, seeing the other swimmers coming in. Second place, Amy Henshaw. Sophie Dodd third. They're in the white cap.
All three of the first swimmers there taking PBs from that swim. So that's great across the board there.
And the summary for you: Claire Maloney 4:37.47, Amy Henshaw 4:41.33, and third Sophie Dodd 4:44.47. On to heat 4, Lucy Buchan of first in 1, Katie Smith of East Lothian in 2, Beth Constance Dundee City Aquatics in 3, Alice Smith of Newburn in 4, Keris Sinclair of Orkney in 5, Louise Fair of Hearts in 6, Bobby Gregg of South Lanarkshire in 7, and Ailsa Beck of South Aberdeenshire in 8. So quite competitive here coming into the second 50. The 2 centre lanes in particular, Alice Smith and Keris Sinclair. Over on the far side, Lucy Buchan up there as well, the first swimmer in lane 1. And on the near side, Ailsa Beck. But it looks like lane 4, Alice Smith of Newburn in the orange cap. So at the 100. 1:05.44, pretty much the same time as Claire Maloney in the previous heat, and she's got about half a second on Lucy Buchan's second.
There's a lot of the swimmers, a lot of girls in this event that are coming in with those mid 4:40, 4:43 kind of times. So expect to see quite a lot of these girls in and around those same splits and getting in amongst those same kind of battles. So it'll be an interesting one to see how each of them pace this event.
Yeah, it's up for grabs really when there's such tight time differentials on entry times. Really, wins could come out of any of the lanes. Really, it doesn't have to be the centre yellow lanes.
And that's so true when we look up to the top of the screen once the camera pans out, of Lucy Buchan doing a great job up there in lane 1 in the blue hat, as you can see, and just starting to trying to get onto terms with Alice Smith from Newburn. So you're right, it doesn't matter which lane they're in, which part of the pool they're in, they're still there, all in amongst the same kind of time. So all a great chance of racing fast today.
Yep, halfway mark 2:16.02 there for Alice, so 1500ths only faster than Claire Maloney's split in the previous heat. So, as you said, very tight between the heats as well as within the heats. Lucy Buchan still working well on the far side, and then you can see in the red cap there the Orcadian, Keris Sinclair. We talked a bit about Orkney swimming coming on, and Keris an example of that. The 13-year-old, one of a few 13-year-olds in this field, a mixture of 13 and 14-year-olds.
Yeah, and just eyes looking up across the pool to the coaches, and you got a few of the coaches really trying to wind the swimmers up, trying to get them to just pick the rate up a little bit, and really just making sure that they're encouraging them to try and do the best job they can at the moment.
So at 300, Alice 3:26.55 has now nearly 3 seconds on Lucy Buchan, so it's looking like her race now.
Yeah, she has a commanding lead that hasn't really been reduced through that last 100 meters. So I'm starting to think that she's broke away to a safe point now, that she can really just think about her own racing and start chasing the clock rather than trying to battle the people, right?
Yeah, and there's definitely a battle for second though, because Keris Sinclair is just about there with Lucy Buchan now. So as the leader goes through the 50, and you can see there in lane 5 in the red cap, Keris Sinclair, and up on the top in the blue cap, Lucy Buchan contesting second, and that one I think will go the distance as our leader Alice Smith turns for the final time. Coming out of the turn with a lead of about 4 or 5 meters now. Still looks like Lucy Buchan just about holding second. Can she hold that down this final length? I think probably at the moment the answer is yes.
It looks so, but we'll see, won't we?
Here comes Alice though, 4:37.43. That was just 400ths faster than Claire Maloney in the previous heat. Second was Lucy Buchan, 4:41.11 from Keris Sinclair. 4:41.91. We shall see that summarised in a moment. There's the leader, and there is your summary. Alice Smith 4:37.43, Lucy Buchan second, Keris Sinclair third. Three more heats to go in this event. Of course, this is a heat declared winner event. They'll be making the presentations to the top 3 later on. So every heat in theory should be faster than the one before. So in heat 5 we have Lexi Waller of Hearts going in 1, Anya Sordi of City of Sunderland in 2, Mari Swanson of Hearts in 3, Chloe O'Hara, North Lanarkshire in 4, Katrina Fowley, North Ayrshire in 5, Eve White of Dumfries in 6, Nikki Miller of South Lanarkshire in 7, Ellie Neal of Warrender in 8.
So Eve White, our early leader from Dumfries, swimming out of lane 6 with a white hat on, but we've got a lot of the girls really getting involved in this race. I'm going to keep an eye on lane 3 of Chloe O'Hara as well, who is doing a great job. And right up at the top of the screen, Lexi Waller from Hearts of Midlothian as well, all looking like those girls are swimming in a line. So they look like they'll make up the 1, 2, 3 at the moment, but like we've seen so often in this race so far, it can chop and change around, can't it, Duncan?
Yes, it certainly can, and really all 8 swimmers still in the mix. You look at first place 104.02, 8th place 106.89, so just about 2.8 between the 8 of them. Certainly a 64 is the fastest first 100 we've seen. Lane 3, Mari Swanson pushing hard with Eve White still leading, and up on the top Lexi Waller of Hearts. Lexi, the youngster, just 12 years old, the youngest of the 8 swimmers here. Looks like Eve main competition is from the Heart swimmer Mari Swanson. Moving into third now, Nikki Miller of South Lanarkshire in the blue cap down the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, she's moving through the field really well. She was holding about 4th position just before, so really going with that leading pack.
Halfway point then, and nothing in it. In fact, Mari Swanson just getting the touch, 2:14.12. Couple of seconds faster than the previous heat now.
So at the halfway point, really hard to split those two girls there, and we've got to start wondering whether any of the other girls in this heat are going to be able to try and track them back, or whether the pace that they've set is going to be able to be sustained by those girls.
Well,
what do you think?
All will be revealed. I'm going to be inscrutable on this one, I think. Eve White is looking steady. 2:49.94, has the lead back, but only by tenths from Amari Swanson. Still tight for third as well. On the bottom of your screen then, just coming into the shot there, Nikki Miller. Still going well. She still has it up in lane 2 now. Anya Sordi is coming up, and Katrina Fowley in the dark cap in lane 5. But let's see who has the touch this time at 300 meters. Whoa, so close. 3:25.99. Mari Swanson, just 600ths between them.
They're so similar on the way that they're attacking the tumble turns. Also, they're underwater where they're streamlining. They're coming up at about the same point. You really struggle to split these girls here.
So the two 14-year-olds, and coming to the 350 mark. Anya Sordi going well in lane 2. She's up into 3rd place now, and she has closed a bit on the leading 2. So could we see a late charge from her?
She's looking so fast with those arms turning over. She's closing that gap all the time here, Duncan.
So this is close. It's Eve White, I think, will turn for home in the lead, but there's the 2 in lanes 2 and 3. Anya Sordi, what a final 100 from her. She is pushing all the way. Can Eve White hold her off here?
Oh, I think between these two. Take it.
I think White may just edge it. Oh, but she got a shot, but she held on. 4:35.39. Brilliant swim from Anya Sordi. Got so close to taking that one. 4:35.74 for her. And Mari Swanson, who was in the mix all the way through, ends up 3rd. 4:36.93. But a good PB for her nonetheless.
What a good finish on that.
There's the summary for you. White, Sordi and Swanson, your 1, 2, 3. I guess that's about keeping your head there when the pressure's on. Just keeping your stroke going. Don't let it panic you. On to heat 6, Katie Taylor of first in 1, Erin Robertson of South Ayrshire in 2, Lizzie Cleland of Best in 3, Jodie Bunker of City of Sunderland in 4, Sophia Green of Elgin in 5, Heather Mulvaney of City of Aberdeen in 6, Eddie Grant, Dundee City Aquatics in 7, and Kirsty Pitts of Perth City in 8.
Yeah, you're right. It is about keeping your composure when it comes down to that kind of finish and somebody's chasing you down. But you've also got to react. You've got to make sure that you're working yourself to the complete maximum so that you can get your best finish in as well. And I think we saw Eve do that as well. So even though that her stroke held together, she really did react to that late challenge there. And we've got 2 early leaders here. And City of Sunderland straight back into it with Jodie Bunker here in lane 4. Really aggressive down this first 100 and first at the turn there, but closely followed by Erin Robertson. So we'll see if Erin can try and hold on to that pace or whether somebody else wants to try and get in the mix of this.
So we saw a northeast of England versus southwest of Scotland battle in the last heat. We've got another one potentially here. Sunderland against South Ayrshire this time. But it's early advantage to the Sunderland girl, Jodie Bunker. We've seen Jodie up in these parts before. She was 4th in national age groups in this pool in the spring. See how she does here. Entry time 4:36.10. She is the fastest on paper of the field and has about a body length advantage over Erin Robertson. Erin, a youth development squad member. Probably best known as a breaststroker, but she's tracking behind Jodie here as we come to the halfway point. Bunker through 2:12.73, about a second and a half up on the previous heat. 2:14 dead, Erin Robertson. Sophia Green, the Elgin swimmer, so we had that shout out from Elgin.
And it is Jodie Bunker who's really stretching out here. Fantastic racing so far, because all the girls look as if they're really aggressive, they're really taking on this race. So you can see really strong leg kicks all the way through. The kicking out of the turns, something so important on an event like this, because 400, it's at a middle distance event where you've got to make sure the pacing's right on it, but you still want to really push your body in that kind of almost sprint mode.
Yeah, it's this sort of middle ground, isn't it, between aerobic and anaerobic swimming, and I always think quite a tough event to manage. But here we go, the leading two well clear of the others, and it is still Jodie Bunker, but her lead is only 6/10, 3:23.22, so about 1:09.5. And this one is getting tighter as well here. Very close here, as Erin Robertson pretty much on terms now with Jodie Bunker. Coming up to the 3:50 mark then. And we've got a race on our hands once again here. And look at that, 4 swimmers in a line for 3rd place as well. You'll see them coming into your shot to the turn right now. There they are. But at the lead, it's the South Ayrshire girl who's just edged past the Sunderland girl now. So
massive leg kick there. Really making it hard for Jodie Bunker to get back on terms.
So Jodie will pull out all the stops down this last length, but I think Erin has got it here. Erin Robertson then bringing this one home. 4:31.28. So 6.5 seconds inside her entry time.
And just timing that comeback perfectly there.
Jodie Bunker will have to settle for second here, but has a PB of 3 seconds for her troubles. And that battle for 3rd was tight, but it went to Lizzie Cleland. The summary about to come up, there it is. So Erin Robertson, as you can see there, 4:31.28. Jodie Bunker 2nd, Lizzie Cleland 3rd. So one more heat. And in this final heat we have Katie McVie of Annick Dolphins in 1, Krista Armichaud of City of Sunderland in 2, then 3 first swimmers, Jenna Lafferty in 3, Lauren Pirouet in 4, and Chanel Snedden in 5. Lauren Gilks, City of Glasgow in 6, Jessica Thompson, City of Aberdeen in 7, and Sophie Smith as Arbroath St Thomas in 8.
And the leader and distance swimmer that we've talked about quite a bit already this weekend is Carissa Armijo, and she's doing a great job leading this one out here. And she's just ahead of lane 5's Chanel Snedden, which again, we're seeing a lot of the girls racing out. They've got big weekends of racing here.
Yeah, so these two setting out their stall early. 3rd place, Lauren Gilks, City of Glasgow. So we've seen Sunderland in the thick of the action in the last 2 heats, and here we go again with Carissa. They've just had it nicked away from in the last 2 heats, so Carissa would love to put that right in the final heat where it matters most of all, as there could be a gold medal at stake. A wee reminder for you, if you want to come in April, or next week for that matter, to the Jewel in the Pool in Glasgow, see Europe and America, the Ryder Cup of swimming, and it's here in Scotland, in Tollcross, next weekend, Friday the 20th, Saturday the 21st of December, and that's where to go to your tickets, www.jewelinthepool.co.uk. And there will be some fantastic swimming, high drama, guaranteed in that one.
Absolutely guaranteed at that.
So Carissa Armijo holding the lead here from lane 2, going through 2:07.11. So this is quite a bit faster, as you'd expect in the fastest heat than the previous heats. Lane 5, Chanel Snedden about 3 meters back, and third place Lauren Gilks. Fairly well spread at the moment, but we have seen some big comebacks in the earlier heats, so don't count your chickens. But at the moment it is Carissa Armijo going through 2:50 in 2:41.16, leads by about 2.3 now. Let's keep an eye on that as the splits go through. Good contest for 4th place. Jenna Lafferty out of your shot, and Jessica Thompson. You see them come into shot just now. There they are. But it is still Carissa in lane 2. So only 5th fastest on paper in lane 2, but you wouldn't know that. 3:15.17 with 100 to go. She's still about 2.3 up.
So really gutsy swim here. Obviously seeing that a lot of her teammates have been swimming really well in the previous heats, and definitely wanting to get in the mix of that and really put a good time down here. Starting to get the idea that the Sunderland girls have come into this possibly having a little bit of rest running into this meet.
Well, but saying that, once again there's a challenge coming in. 50 to go. Chanel Snedden is closing the gap. The gap down to about 1.5 seconds now. Can Chanel continue the momentum here? Third place still Lauren Gilks ahead of Jenna Lafferty, but final turn, Carissa Armijo still has a healthy advantage here, coming down the last length. Surely she'll not be caught here. Chanel, though, continuing to push it down this last length, but lane 2, Carissa Armijo into the final 5 meters. She's going to take the honours here, 4:22.17.
That's a huge PB there, and that's just really gutsy racing there.
So 10 seconds inside her entry time for the girl from Sunderland. Chanel Snedden 4:24.24, 4-second improvement for her. And we'll see the summary there. Lauren Gilks confirmed in 3rd place. They're all faster than the previous heat, so they will be the 1, 2, 3. We'll be seeing getting medals later on. Carissa Armijo 1st, Chanel Snedden 2nd, and Lauren Gilks 3rd. So next up we have the boys 15 and under 1500 freestyle. So back to the distance events here, and there's going to be 4 heats here. And we're going to be giving Andy Mayer a wee break just now. He's had a busy 2 days, and joining me for a slot as my co-commentator, a very warm welcome to Scottish Swimming Performance Director Ali Wyke. Ali, nice to have you here.
Afternoon, Duncan.
So we've done this before in the summer in June, so We've got the boys 15 under 1500 freestyle to come up, so some of our best younger swimmers here, youth development squad swimmers in action here. So what would you be looking for as performance director from these guys?
Well, I think as the heats progress, you'll obviously see the time starting to come down, but the last heat of the event is looking a bit tasty there with Angus Barr, lane 4, 15:41 entered. He's been in great form this season already, swimming up at the North District Grand Prix event, but don't discount somebody like Ryan Brown from Best. He's been pretty good this morning with the seniors, so the 205 event. He makes the B final with the senior athletes, so it should be a really good test for some of these young athletes.
And the first heat is a head-to-head here, just the two swimmers involved. And so you can see the two of them there. Aaron Stowe in lane 4 without the cap, and just behind him the Carnegie swimmer Rory Lawless. So Fife versus Carnegie. It's a local contest here. Who adds a little bit of spice. The 15-year-old from the Fife performance against the 13-year-old from Carnegie. So I guess those 2 years gives Aaron the edge here.
And Aaron looks as though he's gone out pretty strong on that first 100, turning 62.4. Looking fairly comfortable though, but hopefully he'll not pay for that early pace later in the race.
So all of straight away he's about 4 meters up on paper. There's absolutely nothing between these two, both on a 17:36 entry. But certainly early on there is quite a gap developing. 150 meters, and there's about 5 meters separating them. I guess this, when there's just two swimmers in the pool like this and they get a bit of distance between them, it very much becomes almost like a time trial where you're just swimming you against the clock. You'll have been given a race plan.
That's right. I think we'd always encourage younger swimmers to, or any swimmer in fact, to try and follow their own race plan. So they're the only things that you can really control are your own elements of your performance. So you can't control what anybody else does, so it's important to have your own race plan, follow that. But you can't deny that being in a race with other people around about you helps to spur you forwards and hopefully put in a better performance than you would do if you were on your own. In situations like this, when you're up out in front, then you've really just got to focus on what you're doing rather than worrying about anybody else.
So Aaron Stowe then approaching 250, 244. Let's just see what his lead is. It's pretty substantial, about 4.5 seconds. 248.72 the split for Rory.
It'll be interesting to see as the race develops whether Rory can actually start making some inroads into the gap between him and Aaron. Remember, Aaron went out quite quickly in that first 100, so if he's in great nick, then that should be making out for a really good swim. He's still looking strong off the walls there. Lovely transition into stroke.
He was a little slower in that third 100 than he was in the second 100, down to just under a 109 from about a 107. So we'll see what he settles down to.
Yeah.
We've been talking for the last day and a bit with Andy about April and the trials. And in fact, of course, that you can pick up your tickets for those trials. It will be a great event at the beginning of April in Tollcross. As performance director, that's a big event for you.
Yes, a big event for Scottish Swimming. It's a big event for the athletes as well. Phase 1 qualifying, first meet Scottish National Championships, second meet the British Championships. I think it's absolutely the Scottish Nationals. If you've been lucky enough to get a ticket for the Commonwealth Games, lucky you, great job. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, but if you haven't, I would get yourself along to the Scottish Championships, because the events that will be on there are going to be extremely close, and many of them, and of course that's their first opportunity to qualify or post a qualifying time. I'm sure you've explained earlier on that it's the best time out of the 2 meets in phase 1 that actually gains the spots on the team.
That's right, because hot on the heels of the Scottish National Championships is the British Championships, also in Tollcross, and those 2 events will be taken together, and the times from those 2 events will form the first phase of selection. So I would say, even if you have got tickets for the Commonwealth Games, come along in April as well, because you can get involved in the journey that these athletes are taking. You know, job 1 is to get yourself a time that gets you for consideration onto the team. Job 2 is you've got to be in the top 3. It's no look good getting the time if there's people with faster times, or too many people with faster times ahead of you. And then job 3, of course, is to perform at the games themselves and do your bit to bring medals home for Scotland.
And I think the important thing that all the listeners have to realise is that the athletes really appreciate the support of the public and all their friends and colleagues and parents, family, etc. All that support really does help on the day when it comes to putting in a fast performance.
Yeah, I'm sure are going to have a passionate pro-Scottish crowd at the Commonwealth Games, and we'll be looking, I think, for the same at the selection events. You know, lots and lots of noise and lots of passion for your swimmers. And so that's something certainly to look forward to. But here we are in the 1500 freestyle, the boys event, heat 1 still. We've still got a long way to go. We're just coming towards the 600 mark now, and the 2 boys meeting there about 8 meters out from the turn end, so that suggests there's 15-16 meters between them. As we come to 600, Aaron's been going around the 109 mark, 6:46.07. That's 110 for that one. So with 900 to go, my math says that would be about 10:30 for the remaining time. So add that onto the 6:46. You've got 17:16 or thereabouts. So
not only a good commentator, Duncan, pretty good at the old pacing and maths involved as well.
Well, might be completely wrong, of course, but Aaron Stowe entered 17:36, so certainly I think looks like he's pacing quite a bit faster than that. We could be able to be breaking off momentarily from this race to show you the presentations from that girls 400 freestyle. No sign of that coming up at the moment. Let's just keep an eye on that. But meanwhile, it is very much Aaron Stowe in the dominant position here.
So Rory turning over in 1:15 pace, 1:15.5 there. So is the gap just increasing on every 50 as we go through? Aaron Stowe just keeping the tempo up quite nicely. Really important in the 1500 to have a consistent tempo to your stroke. Very difficult to change it round as you go through the race. And certainly at the top level, those athletes with the ability to change pace and put some speed in at the back end of the race, they're generally the ones that can obviously have a good tool in the box to help them win races. But, these younger athletes, very important just to learn how to do this and to maintain stroke length, stroke rate as they go through the swim.
You see there a nice wide angle lens there, as you can see there, 1500 meters, 15 meters or so between them. So we're into the second half now, and coming to 800 meters, 9:05.92. So again around about the 110 split. That seems to be Aaron's settled speed now.
And that's a 1:14 there for Rory, so he's just a little bit quicker on that 100.
It looks to be just about holding that gap at sort of 15, 16, 17 metres or so. He's been that for a while now, so he must have upped his game, I think, here, because Aaron's been fairly steady. Up there, the two camps over on the far side, you can see there, the black of Carnegie and the Five Performance duo, all supporting their two swimmers. 16.76, so down to 1:11 there for Aaron, so I'm just feeling it at the moment. Just really needs to push on now.
Yeah, you're right there, Duncan. That was a 1:11 split there for Rory, so he is hanging in there. Sorry, Aaron.
So maybe just opens the door for Rory a little bit if Aaron does come off the pace a bit. And you do feel that that gap maybe is shrinking. 10:51 there, just take a note of the gap. It's pretty substantial, about 11 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that just to see whether Rory can start to work that down.
So 2/3 of the race just about done now for...
So this is the 1,000 metre mark, 11:26.82. So back to 1:10 there. So if there was a blink, well, it was a fairly short one. Still about 11 seconds the gap between them.
Yeah, and that was another 1:11 split there for Rory on that 100. So the gap has just been maintained. It's Coach Tony Doubleday on the far side waving on the swimmer there.
So assistant for John Sharanek at Carnegie, and there's Ian Lewis and Derek Pirouet on the Fife side doing their stuff in support of Aaron Stowe.
Aaron really looking good off the walls at the moment. Really quality streamlined position, and you'll see the speed that he generates off the wall. And that's pretty hard to maintain as you work through the 1500. It's not easy to keep that skill level going through that length of time and length of distance, so he's doing a pretty good job at the moment, Aaron.
Well, his pace is slipping a bit, and the gap now is under 10 seconds for Rory. Has taken a second off it in that last 100. I don't think that will be fast enough catch up to catch him, but you could maybe expect this lead to shrink in the closing stages here. As Rory maybe just getting a bit of momentum behind him. Nice close-in shot of the turn there from Aaron. And coming up shortly, we should see Rory come into shot. There he is as he goes through. That was the 11:50 turn. And we are now moving to presentations. I don't know whether our cameras will show the shots of the
Ladies and gentlemen, with great pleasure.
Looks like we are sticking with the swimming here, as we see Aaron going through 13:49.68. So around about 1:11 again, and the gap now about 9 seconds, just under that. And there's your shot of our presentation group getting their medals for the girls 14 and under 400 freestyle. The bronze medalist getting her medal there was Lauren Jilks, City of Glasgow. silver medalist Chanel Snedden of first, and there getting the gold medal, the City of Sunderland swimmer Carissa Amisho. And Sunderland picking up the pictures. That will, I'm sure, appear on the City of Sunderland Facebook page before too long. And Gina Logan was the one making the medal presentations there, Scottish Amateur Swimming Association president. So meanwhile, we go straight back to the swimming then, as Carissa proudly takes her gold medal back to the northeast of England. Aaron going through 15:01. So about a 1:11.5 there for that last 100.
And Rory really coming back a little bit now. Actually, 7 seconds the gap now, so he's managed to pick up 3 or 4 seconds in the last couple of 100 metres. So doing a great job of sticking at it.
You wonder whether he will certainly, I think, maybe be feeling that he is cutting that gap, and that might just drive him on here in the closing stages. He hasn't got that much time to close down the remaining 7 seconds, but let's see how it works out.
Oh, he's picking up his tempo a little bit now as well.
15:37 for Aaron. 15:43, it's under 6 seconds.
Now.
This is getting interesting, Ali.
Indeed, if young Rory can manage to break that gap, it was a massive lead for Aaron earlier in the 15, and so if he can manage to just pick it up, then it would be a really great effort.
Aaron then. This is the 1400 mark. And he goes through 16:12.40, so another 1:11.
The legs of Aaron Stowe just starting to come up now, so
6.3 that time, so another second knocked off, but I think Rory could well find that he just runs out of pool time to complete the job here, but credit to this effort in these last few 100 metres. They'll take the bell at this next turn. And there it goes, 16:47.90 with 50 to go. Here's Rory going through 16:53.25, so the gap, what's that, about 5 and a bit seconds. So again, he cut it down, but he surely can't make up 5 seconds in that last 50. But so Aaron Stowe will be given a little bit of a run for his money. Entry time 17:36. He's going to be well inside that. So good swim, good solid swim. He did all the work early on and comes in 17:21.53.
And Rory just coming in at 17:27. And that's a really great effort also. He's a lovely PB, 9 seconds there as well, actually. An excellent effort.
Yeah, and really strong finish from Rory. So a lot to take from that race. So as we move on to a full pool of swimmers for Heat 2. So run through the lineup. George Clough of Warrender goes in lane 1. Vincent Shashtas of Stirling in 2. Ross McPherson, South Lanarkshire in 3. James Collier of Carnegie in 4. Angus Cameron of Stirling in 5. Finlay Dean, City of Aberdeen in 6. Fraser Beebe of Carnegie in 7. And Blair Fotheringham of St Thomas in 8.
And so the first 50 just been completed, and it's often the second and third 50s where we see the swimmers just starting to settle down into the pace that they're going to try and maintain through the rest of the event. You can see the variety across the whole pool there. Some with quite a high tempo, some just staying off the pace a little bit. And it's really about who can get into that zone where they're able to swim at maximum pace without using too much energy at this stage of the race.
So it's the yellow cap, Vincent Shashtas, leading them through 102.59. Fairly similar 100 split to Aaron Stowe in the previous heat, but look at that, 8 across the pool, pretty close together. Entry time 17:17 up to 17:35, so an 18-second spread between them. Andy, welcome Andy. It's always good to see Andy White joining me here.
It's my brother.
Is he the good-looking one?
Yes. He's got a little bit more teeth than I have.
I was going to say more hair as well, but I don't think either of us could talk on that front.
Shining examples.
A beacon to society. Right, enough of that nonsense. Lane 2, Vincent Chasauchters is continuing to push on here. And through 200, 209.81. Still pretty much identical split to Aaron Stowe, within a tenth. Collier in second, but well, very tight for second really. Collier in lane 4, over in lane 1 George Clough of Warrender. So 2 youth development squad members behind Vincent Chasauchters.
So the pace just settled down a little bit now. And it's Vincent out in lane 2, leading the way. He's got a nice little rhythm going there. But Summers in the middle of the pool still looking pretty comfortable. So it wouldn't surprise me if things change quite a lot in this particular heat.
Certainly you feel that with maybe the exception of lane 8, all the other 7 swimmers are there or thereabouts.
And I think so. I think it all depends on what kind of race plan these guys have got, whether it is going to be even pace all the way, whether it's going to be a progressive blocks of 500, and of course how effective they've been at putting that plan into place, whether they've maybe gone a little too quick at the start or whether they've gone a little bit too slow at the start. So it's one of the great things about the 1500. So much can happen during the race. It's never quite sure how things are going to pan out.
Yeah, it's one thing to have the race plan, it's another thing to execute it. And Vincent's plan looks to be to push from the front and maybe try and break the swimmers behind him. Has some recent good form. He was second in the West District senior age groups recently. That's where he did his entry time at 17:30.
Vincent just looks as though he's pulling away just gently at the front, but really tight for second place. Everybody just seems to be stroking the same tempo across the pool. So they're keeping him in their sights at the moment, and I'd imagine that as the race goes on that we just start to reel him in a little bit.
So he's got about 2.3 seconds on Fraser Beebe in lane 7, who's just out of his shot, who's in second place, but really there's a whole group of them there or thereabouts. Over on the far side there, the Warrender swimmer George Clough, he's going well. Lane 6 there you can see going well. Finlay Deans in the purple cap, Fraser Beebe, those two pretty close, just a couple of seconds, well in fact less than 2 seconds now behind Vincent Chasauchters, so just keep an eye on the gap. It's still, what, 3 meters or so. Let's see, well, really too tight to call. We have a bit of psychedelic camera work there, but 3 swimmers, Clough in 1, Deans in 6, Beebe in 7, who are all battling for second place, with just behind them McPherson in lane 3 and Collier beside him in lane 4. And then the yellow cap of Angus Cameron in lane 5. But still it's Chasauchters who leads them. 5:34.33 for him at 500. About 1:08.5 his split. So he's been sort of around the 1:08s pretty steadily.
I think just 2 sides of the pool developing now. George Clough out in lane 1 just seems to be just getting into view of Vincent's feet there, so maybe that'll be helping to pull him along. But over this side of the pool, we've got Fraser Beebe and Finlay Deans developing a little battle, and hopefully that'll spur them on as well. I really have the makings of a great race here.
Yep, it's all brewing up nicely. Coming to 600. Oh, Ali, you joined me. Ali White, welcome. We got rid of that Andy guy.
Yeah, he was rubbish.
So Jasashtas holding his advantage here pretty well. It's been pretty steady. Still 4 of them. Right there, Clough, McPherson, Deans and Beebe. All there or thereabouts. Collier just behind them. And then Cameron. 7:17 at 6:50. The gap nearly 3 seconds now, so just increasing again.
Yeah. It just looked as though he picked up his tempo a little bit. Just looking at him off the walls, they're not perhaps as effective as it could be coming off the walls. Not really in a streamlined position. Arms slightly apart. Probably could improve a little bit on that one. Vincent now is continuing to maintain that gap.
You could
still looking pretty relaxed there, Duncan, and George Clough just starting to make a wee bit of a break between the other 3 swimmers at the moment. Finlay Deans and Fraser Beebe still battling away against each other in lane 6 and lane 7. And the gap is just over a couple of seconds at the moment. So yeah, looking pretty good out there. George Clough working pretty hard. Nice streamline off the wall. And Ross McPherson also in the middle there, just keeping an eye on what's going on.
So this is definitely cooking up nicely, and I think Jasashtas can hold these group of 4 off.
Well, he's done a great job so far. He's been very bold, quite a brave swim, to be honest, taking it out at the front, and he's done a great job of holding him off. We kind of had the feeling that maybe the rest of the field would pick him up as the race went on, but at the moment he seems to be maintaining it fairly comfortably.
Still a fair way to go, of course. We've through 800. This will be the turn for 850 coming up. So a lot can change between now and 1500. As you were saying earlier, that's one of the joys of this race. 3 seconds the gap between Jasashtas McPherson just in second place from Clough and Beebe.
Fraser Beebe down in lane 7 at the moment. He just looks as though he's got a wee extra bit of spring into his stroke. Just picking up a little bit.
Just got a nudge on Finlay Deans at the moment. Only 4/10, but from little acorns, as they say. 10:09 for Vincent. Looks like it's George Clough now has got second place over in lane 1, just ahead of Ross McPherson. We'll see that at this turn. 10:44 for Vincent Jasashtas. It is Clough just ahead. Still very tight though. About 2.7 the gap now. So it's been sort of 2 to 3 seconds pretty consistently for a lot of this race.
So that 2 to 3 seconds, that can be easily bridged should one of the swimmers decide that they're going to really make a go for it. George Clough just edging ahead again. The thing is that as the race has developed, we've seen George taking a wee bit of a move into second place, then the other guy's catching up, then maybe Fraser picking up into second place, and then the other guy's catching up. Really is tight across the pool.
Yeah, no decisive moves yet, and still a bit over 2 seconds Vincent's advantage. So he is holding his position pretty well here, pacing 109s or thereabouts. At this stage about 7 seconds faster than Aaron Stover on the first heat, so I think we're looking for something maybe in the 17:10 area. Oh, Vincent.
This group of swimmers certainly been a lot more consistent in their pace. They haven't really dropped off at all. They've just kept things ticking over. It really does look like George Clough is making a bit of a move, but to be fair, it's all 4 swimmers across the pool at the moment. Ross and Fraser and Finlay also trying to bridge that gap.
The gap around 2 seconds, just fractionally under 2 seconds. So first time it's actually been under 2 seconds for a long time. So George just doing his best, as you said, to bridge that gap, and he's just about on to Vincent's heels now. That shot makes it look closer than it is. It's still about a body length. That gives you a better view. But a good contest brewing, I think. The gap now about 1.2, so it's definitely closing. So this is the time where George, I think, is mounting his challenge. Over on the near side in the purple cap, Finlay Deans, he's also coming up well. There you see him now coming into shot. And just behind him, Ross McPherson, Fraser Beebe, still very much in touch.
And it's Finlay Deans starting to pick up his legs here in lane 6. He's definitely trying to bridge that gap as well. But Vincent hanging on in front. He's done a great job by taking that race out and real working hard. Big brave swim there.
So Dean's now in second place. He's the main challenger, just a second and a half back on Jasajtas. Clough in third, over on the top of the screen. And who said that 1500 freestyle doesn't have interest? Because this one has got a long way to go. There are plenty of twists and turns still up for grabs here. Can Jasajtas hold on to it? He's now only 3/10 up. And Finlay Deans is the one who is looking the most aggressive here.
And interesting, Duncan, as well, that Fraser Beebe's gone with him. He's trying to hang on to Finlay Deans' feet, and he's coming through. Could be moving into third place shortly.
He's certainly challenging George Clough now. Is Finlay Deans in the lead now? It looks like he is. We'll see at this turn what the scoreboard has to say about it. But it looks like it's just Deans. It is 14:44.16 against 14:44.59. Now, if you were Vincent Jasajtas, now you've seen somebody, or maybe you haven't seen somebody go past you. Can you come back here and really push?
That's the interesting thing, Duncan. Maybe Vincent hasn't actually seen Finlay Deans on this side of the pool. It's pretty difficult from lane 2 catching what's going on in lane 6.
He is breathing on Finlay's side, so maybe he catches a glimpse of him as he breathes, but still not a lot in it. Quarter of a second. So everything still is up for grabs here.
So 150 metres to go now. I think we're going to see things just starting to heat up a little bit more. The leg kick will come into play a little bit more. The stroke rate will start to increase.
Does look like it's between these two now, and Deans is maybe just opening up a bit of a gap now. That's 15:51.98 against 15:52.74, so 3/4 of a second in it now. And I don't think Jasajtas can come back from this now. Deans has got the race. By the scruff of his neck, you would think. Well, Jasajtas, though. Let's not write him off just yet. They're coming to the bell. Still a good race for third on. BB, I think, has gone ahead of Clough as they turn. So it's Finlay Deans in the purple cap, the City of Aberdeen swimmer. And he has now got a couple of metres in hand as he turns for home. So it's going to be Finlay Deans here, just lapping Angus Cameron as well, just as he comes in. So great swim from Finlay Deans, and he didn't panic as Jasastis went off. 16:56.09 for him to take it, breaking through 17 minutes. And we're happy about that. Entered 17:27, so 31-second improvement.
Really is a great effort from those swimmers there. Vincent taking out the race, just gradually being reeled in by Finlay Deans, and Finlay having a little bit of the edge at the end. Good heart though, really tough at the end, and some great times achieved there. Both Finlay and Vincent getting under 17 minutes for the first time. That's a great achievement.
Yep, I think Vincent will certainly be happy with that, even though he was eventually overhauled. And there is the summary for you. Finlay Deans 16:56.09, Vincent Jasastis 16:57.25, and Fraser Beebe taking third. So we're moving on to Heat 3 now, and we have Toby Douglas of Eyemouth in 1, Fraser Gill of West Lothian in 2, Ewan McComish South Lanarkshire in 3, James Stephen of First in 4, Jack Harrison of Warrender in 5, Jack Sharanek of Carnegie in 6, Patrick Smith South Ayrshire in 7, and Oscar Heald of Elgin in 8. So these swimmers all around about the 17-minute mark, a few of them just under, a few of them just over on their entry time. So saw 16:56, of course, from Finlay Deans in that last one. So these guys will be looking for good PBs to get in front of that. Lane 2, Fraser Gill putting in a strong start. The West Lothian swimmer, 59.95.
So Fraser running out really positive at the start here. Nice rhythm to his stroke. It's off the walls at the moment, but of course we're only 150 metres into the race.
So Scottish Swimming showing us the commentary team in action here. Ali White on the mic, along with me, Duncan McKinnell. So we're enjoying the 15 and under boys 1500 freestyle, and we are into the third heat out of 4. Each one should be faster than the one before. Fraser Gill doing his bit to make sure this one is the first one to go under the minute at the 100. Let's see what his 200 split is. So we saw a 2:09.8 in the previous heat. So this is about 4.5 seconds faster, 2:05.32, and about 1:05 and change for his 100 split there. Don't forget, if you're a fan of swimming, that there's plenty of things for you to come and see in the fairly near future. Straight up next weekend, we've got the Jewel in the Pool.
Yeah, and absolutely fantastic. Jewel in the Pool. What an event that's going to be in Glasgow.
It's going to be
see
superb.
Some of the world's finest swimmers there. And if you're going along to watch, I think you're going to have a fantastic experience at the Tollcross Aquatic Centre.
There are still tickets available. So go on to www.duelinthepool.co.uk. Then in April we've got the Scottish National Championships, and Ticketmaster is the place to go there. And you can pick up your tickets for the Scottish event, and there's all the information there. Register for event. That's at the beginning of April in Tollcross, and that's, as we were speaking earlier, is where the first set of action will be to try and book your spot on the Scottish team going to Glasgow 2014. You'll get a second chance as the British Championships come to April, hot on the heels of the Scottish Championships. So that will be some thrilling action there in the middle of April in Tollcross. And a second chance to get your times in that first qualification period for Glasgow 2014. And if you're a fan of para swimming, we've got the Para British Championships coming up at the end of April in Glasgow as well. So we'll see the very best of British para swimming talent. Of course, they had a magnificent performance in Montreal in the IPC World Championships late in the summer holidays. So a chance to see top quality para swimming at the end of April also in Tollcross. So there's going to be some fantastic events before we get to the Commonwealth Games, and then of course all topped off by the Commonwealth Games in July. So what a summer, what a spring we're going to have of top quality swimming here in Scotland.
If you love swimming, you love the sport, then it's a fantastic opportunity to see some world-class swimming in Scotland. Really is a fantastic opportunity.
So Fraser Gill is setting out his stall here. He's got about 5-6 meters advantage over a group of 4 behind him, led by the Warrender swimmer Jack Harrison. So approaching 500 meters, 5:25.81, around about 8.5 seconds faster than the previous heat at this stage, and a fairly tasty gap there, about 4 seconds between Fraser and the 4 behind him.
I think that'll be the interesting thing, Duncan, is that Fraser has gone out very positive. He's gone 59 to 65 to 66 to 67, so he's just on a wee bit of a slide there. If the guys in the middle of the pool can work off each other, then I think they might just start eating into that gap, but it very much depends on how Fraser manages to, if he manages to keep that stroke rate going. If not, then I quite fancy the guys in the middle to gradually reel him in as the early pace starts to hit him a wee bit.
Jack Sharanek and Jack Harrison leading that charge to try and claw it back. So we'll keep an eye on the gaps between Fraser and the others. 6:34.66. So about a 1:09 just under for that 100, and 6:36.80 Jack Harrison in second. So about 2.1 the difference there. And I think you're right, Ali. They are clawing him back now. And they're drawing him back pretty rapidly, in fact. So Fraser coming to a critical juncture fairly early on, not even at halfway yet for him.
He's definitely paying the price for the early pace. He's obviously gone out a little bit too quick, and that's what happens in 1500 metre swimming. You can feel great in the first 50 and the first 100, but you've got another 14 100s to go thereafter. So you can make those small mistakes, and it can have a big impact later on in the race for you.
Yeah, and so we do now have new leaders with the swimmers there in lanes 5 and 6 taking it on. The 2 Jacks, Harrison and Sharanek. Jack Harrison, I think, will take the touch narrowly. 7:43.09. 700. So 7:43.45. And Patrick Smith going well in lane 7. He's just on the heels of the two leaders now. In third place as Fraser Gill fading back into 5th now. Still the two leaders pretty much together there. 8:16 each of them, 2/10 apart, and then about 1.4-ish the gap between Patrick Smith. Well, that looks a bit shrinking.
Yeah, we talked earlier on in this event about being able to follow your own race plan and also having the benefits of a race. Well, I think here's one of those occasions where swimmers are genuinely racing against each other and getting the benefits of it. These guys are just working hard, just trying to maintain their position against each other, but with them they've probably got a wee bit of a plan as to what they're going to do, when they're going to make that break, when they're going to try and pick up their stroke rate. You can see Jack there just trying to check and see how many lengths he's got left. Probably didn't want to see 27 to go, probably wanted to see 7 to go, but he's still got considerable distance to keep himself going in there.
Yeah, I was talking with Andy earlier on about them sort of going out of racing position to look at the board through the 1500, and he was sort of going, well, you shouldn't be doing that, you need to be able to do your counting yourself. I know you're just back from a meet in America where they dangle the boards into the water. So is that something we should be doing in Scotland?
Well, I think it's a great idea, to be honest with you. The US Winter Nationals, where the 1650 yards it is rather than the 1500 metres, but as you say, it's a member of your club that actually does the counting for you on the boards, and the board is actually dropped into the water so the swimmer can see it underneath the water rather than being above. I would quite like to see the officials here just maybe getting down on their hands and knees and dropping that board into the water, helping those swimmers out. I think that would be a fantastic sight. But Andy is right. I think that each swimmer really does need to keep their own counting, know exactly where they are in the race. I think that's the most effective way of doing it.
And do you lose time if you do get out of that shape to see the board as it is at the moment on the pool side?
I think actually Andy's right. Is that you can have a nice rhythm on your stroke. When you're swimming 1500, you want to get into that rhythm and maintain that rhythm. When that rhythm changes, it's quite hard to then find it again. So if you're lifting your head up and breaking your shape in the water, then it can be hard to find the original kind of feel that you had in the water at that position. But I guess that's just practice as well. If you were actually practicing it reasonably regularly then, or racing reasonably regularly, then you would kind of get used to it. And you've got to be ready for all eventualities. There are occasions where you do forget where you are, and so you've got to be able to use the options that are available to you. So in this case, just popping your head up and having a quick look. But I would certainly advise on the officials putting the counters into the water.
So that maybe could be an interesting innovation for Scottish Swimming to introduce. But we've got a good race going on here. 4 swimmers in the mix here. Still the 2 Jacks leading it in lanes 5 and 6, but Patrick Smith right there on their heels, and James Stephen in lane 4 is very much in touch. So this one settling into what could be a very tasty final 500.
And I've just seen Patrick Smith's coach, Byron Stericker, on the far side of the pool there, giving it the big thumbs up. So clearly Patrick's on the right pace at the moment, and he seems to be pretty consistent, just gradually eking into that lead now. There's almost 3 of them in a line.
Yeah, he's within a second now of the lead. They're around 67 pacing, the 3 of them. And you see they're within about a metre of each other. And James Stephen is not that far away either in lane 4. So we're down to these 4 definitely. Here, the Carnegie swimmer now, Jack Sharanek, just has the edge over Jack Harrison. Just made the move over the Forth Bridge to join the Warrender Club. Oh, we wish him well there. So Jack Sharanek has just opened up about a metre on him. Nice close-in shot there as He goes into his turn. And coming out the turn, Jack Harrison just about closing him down. In fact, has closed him down. So as soon as one makes a little move, the other one covers it. 1400s in it, 13.18.
And I thought Jack Shranick was just trying to make a wee bit of a break there, but Jack Harrison responded really straight away, didn't he?
Yes.
Didn't want to let him get away, so the race still continues to be extremely close. Jack just having a quick look there behind him to see how far he's got left to go. He'd have seen the counter saying 250 metres to go.
Looks like we may be dropping James Stevens, so I think we could be down to 3 now. And Patrick Smith is right there as they come to lap the swimmer in lane 8, Oscar Heel. Just gives them a little bit of momentum as they go past him, and it is once again Jack Shranick just opening up maybe a metre gap. So 1300. Shranick 14:24.85.
And you'll notice there, Duncan, as well, that the skills that were looking pretty smooth at the start of the race have just started to deteriorate a little bit now. So if you watch Jack Harrison coming off the wall, that's a lovely turn there from Jack Shranick. Harrison coming off the wall there, the arms just starting to come apart a little bit, and that's just fatigue starting to set in. Trying to get into that position gets harder.
And does the added pressure of knowing you've got swimmers breathing down your neck just add to that maybe a little bit as well?
Absolutely, and being able to do your skills under pressure, doesn't matter what level of a sport you're at, that's one of the crucial things.
But Shranick has made a bit of a move here. He's showing good strength here in the latter stages. And he's opened up a bit of a gap now. And before, Jack Harrison always covered it. This time he's struggling to. So this could be the critical juncture here, with Shranick opening up now about 3 metres as he goes through 15:30 with 100 to go. His lead now suddenly about 2.5 seconds, with Patrick Smith and Jack Harrison side by side vying for second, but I'm not sure any of them can cover this move from Jack Shranick. So he's been, I guess, the unsung member of the Shranick family in recent years, but he's coming into a good season this year, Jack Shranick, and he's turning for home. 50 metres to go, 16:03.88. He is up by over 3 seconds now on Harrison and Smith, just a tenth apart. So there he is, Jack Shranick, leading into the final turn. Look at this race for second. Looks like Patrick Smith has just got the edge now on Jack Harrison. That one's going to go the distance. But it's Jack Shranick that's going to take this into the final 5 and home in 16:35 dead.
And that's a great effort there from Jack Shranick. Controlled his pace throughout the 15 and then managed to just pick it up a little bit at the end there. You could see that 6-beat leg kick coming in there, and that takes a good bit of control and a good bit of awareness to be able to do that sort of thing.
So a good improvement as well, 27 seconds inside his entry time, which he didn't do that long ago. He did that at East Districts just at the beginning of November, so that's real good progress there. Just cooling himself off. The heat must be really coming off his body at the moment. Patrick Smith did take second there as we wait for the summary to come up from Jack Harrison, and there you go, 16:35 dead, Jack Shranick. Patrick Smith second, 16:38.36, and Jack Harrison third, 16:39.41.
Really have had some excellent racing, Duncan, over the last couple of races there. Summers taking it out strong at the start, then the main pack coming back into strong finishes at the end. Really is an excellent example of some fantastic racing.
And hopefully we'll see more of the same in this final heat. We've got missing a swimmer, nobody going in lane 6, so 7 in this final heat. We've got Ellis Lawson the first in 1, Scott Dean, City of Glasgow in 2, Callum Laurie a first in 3, Angus Barr, South Lanarkshire in 4, Ryan Brown of Best in 5, Kai Armstrong of City of Belfast in 7, and Oliver Kincart of Portsmouth North Sea in 8. Now I've got a question for you, Ali. Why are Portsmouth called Portsmouth North Sea when they're on the English Channel?
Say again, sorry?
Why are Portsmouth North Sea called Portsmouth North Sea when Portsmouth is on the English Channel?
No idea.
Okay, if anyone knows the answer to that, you could tweet in a little piece of trivia, and maybe you don't care. 10027, Ryan Brown taking this one out.
And so this will be a really interesting race, Duncan, because Angus Barr clearly is the favourite for the race. He's a guy that's gone 1540 odds on the 1500, which really is excellent for a 15-year-old boy. But he was a little bit off on the 400 freestyle, so it'll be interesting to see how he responds after that swim. I know he was extremely keen to swim a strong 1500 here, but he's got Ryan Brown there from the Borders for company.
Does Ryan get any advantage from there being an empty lane beside him, or is that a disadvantage? It would be quiet water on his one side of him.
I don't think there's necessarily any real physical advantage for Ryan on that. In fact, as you say, it might be better to have the swimmer beside him and as part of the race. But both of these swimmers just seem to have made a little bit of a break. Callum Laurie there from first in lane 3, he's just hanging in, but down here at the bottom, Oliver Kincart from Portsmouth, North Sea. And he seems to be ticking along nicely as well, so just starting to develop into a really interesting race.
Lane 3, Callum Laurie as well. So of course Oliver Kincart is part of our performance programme as a Youth Development Squad member. We've seen him pretty regularly up competing in Scotland, going from a wee boy up to the 15-year-old he is now.
It really
Not
is
so wee.
It's great to see Oliver up every year, continues to be part of the Scottish National Programme, as you say, as part of the Youth Development Squad. Never really fails to come up, be part of it. An extremely proud young Scot. And, delighted to have him up here.
Tied at the lead there, Barr and Brown, 309.20 for both of them there.
And Angus Barr seems to be working his turns quite a lot here. That one was just 5 metres, but the couple prior to that were about the 6 to 7 metres. Now I think he's only going to be able to do that for a certain length of time before the physiology of it starts to kick in and he starts to struggle a wee bit. So it will be interesting to see how that's been maintained as you go through. So there we're up at 4.5 metres on that one.
Both of these swimmers would not have been disgraced in the open 1500 metres, so they've chosen to swim in the 15 and unders. Good plan?
Well, it's a really good question, to be honest with you, and it's one that's been long debated with a couple of the coaches on the deck. I think there's positives and negatives. It's always great to be swimming against the senior swimmers and pitting yourself against them, because ultimately that's where these guys have got to be. They've got to be looking at the senior swimming. It's not really about the youth swimming. Whilst it's great to be doing well as a youth swimmer, ultimately they've got to be good against the seniors. So getting that experience is a really important factor of their development. But clearly you can see here that the two of them are going to have a great race against each other, which in turn could actually spur them on to perform even better than they would do. So there's always pros and cons to that decision. On this occasion rather, coaches Figgins and Alex Jordan down in the Borders there, they've made that decision to keep their guys in the youth race instead.
And they must have been quite pleased when they saw the other swimmer in there as well, because it gives them a real target to go against each other. They were first and second in their same age group, of course, in national age groups. In that time it was Angus Barr getting the advantage. He has the faster entry time here. Reminder of the hashtags. Give us your comments on SGSC13 Live and your pictures for the Instagram competition to hashtag SGSC13 Pics. Meanwhile, the race still very much on here. Pacing around about the 65 mark, and just Angus Barr just got the slight edge. Half a second is the gap now. So keeping the pressure on, these two with Kincott and Laurie vying for third. Not much between them either. Oliver Kincott down the bottom of your screen there. Coming into shot now, and you see Laurie. Looks like he maybe just turned ahead of him in lane 3. But at the front, Barr in lane 4. Angus Barr against Ryan Brown. So it's the swimmer from South Lanarkshire against the swimmer from the Borders. 6:23.98.
It just looks like Angus Barr just making a wee bit of a break, but Ryan Brown's extremely tough, so I know he'll try and hang in there for as long as possible. And don't forget Callum Laurie out there in lane 3. He's been going even pace all the way through this race, so the gap was created quite near the start of the race, but he's just ticking along really nicely out there in lane 3. A very comfortable, tidy stroke he's got, and he seems to be maintaining that. Look nice off the walls there, good 5.5 metres. Not bad for a young man.
Is it my imagination, or is Angus picking up a little bit in some of these turns?
Yes, he's just trying to whip them round. I think he's using a little bit of extra size to gain the advantage over Ryan. There's a distinct difference in size at the moment, so Ryan has to maximise what he's got. But both of them just around about the 5 metre marker. You'll remember Angus earlier on, though, he was pushing it out to the 7 metre marker, so it's just not quite getting up to the same level he was earlier on. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that Callum Laurie's just starting to eat into that gap that was there.
And so we'll keep an eye on that as well. But Ryan Brown has pretty much covered Angus Barr now as we come towards the halfway point. And there's just 1/4 of a second between them. Callum Laurie's in third place, 8:05.41. So he's just under 3 seconds back on Angus Barr. Just see him at the back of the shot there in lane 3 with Oliver Kincott on the near side, still very much there. Just saw his arms coming through the shot there. And you see him there about a body length behind, well, a little bit more than that now behind Callum Laurie. Nice shot of the turns there of our two leaders. And coming out the turns, about a metre between them. 8:34.78 at the 800 mark.
And a nice tweet there from Team Scotland, saying that they're enjoying the coverage. So glad you're enjoying the dulcet tones of Duncan McConnell and the great swimming in the pool. And hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of it for the next day and a half or so.
More to the point, I think, enjoying the swimming that's going on here. Just seeing some terrific racing, and this is certainly one of them. Look at this. Ryan Brown has come right back at Angus Barr here. And it is, well, it was Ryan Brown going into that turn, but Angus has come out right alongside him.
And that's Angus has just managed to put that 7.5 metre turn that I was talking about earlier on. It's back to 5 metres on that one, so Ryan makes the break and Angus uses the turn to get himself back in the match again. I wonder how Ryan will take that mentally, because he's obviously put in a lot of effort during that length, and now it'll be interesting to see if he can continue to keep his mind on what's going on.
Yep, so they look to be snuffing out any challenge from Callum Laurie at the moment. He's about 6 meters back now, so it does look like it's going to be between the two in the centre lanes. Their gap now is about 4 seconds on Laurie. 10:11.93 for Brown, 10:12.10 for Barr at that turn. But, well, this is going to brew up into something excellent, I think, here.
So shaping up for an interesting finish to our 1500 metres for session 5.
So this next turn is 1,000 metres, going through at 10:44.43. So just a quarter of a second the gap, and continue to pace around the 65 mark. They've been pretty consistent on that.
Here we go again. Do we see it? No. Yep, there he goes, trying a little bit off the turn. Ryan really just trying to get ahead during the swim. Angus hanging in there off the turn. So
at the moment I think we're pacing around the 16-minute mark here, with Ryan Brown just having the edge in the last 100 metres or so, but not really enough that makes any difference. The two of them practically together there in that turn. Third place is now clearly Callum Laurie. I think Oliver Kincart is out of the medal tally at the moment. But at the front, well, look at that, absolutely together there, just a 10th in it, Brown and Barr. Again, about a 65, exactly a 65 for that one. So, when you're swimming head to head like this, it must get to you. It must get to your brain here. What do I need to do to shake the other guy off?
yeah, but that's the beauty of racing at the end of the day, is that's what it's about. It's the challenge between the two swimmers, and making sure that you're doing what you can do right and giving yourself the best chance of winning the race.
But particularly in these longer races, your brain must be working overtime around, am I doing this right? Is there something else I should be doing? Maybe playing games with you to come off your race plan.
Yeah, and also there's the whole fatigue element of it as well, is that you're right on the edge at this stage of the swim. These guys are working extremely hard, and mentally they've got to be as tough as possible. Well, because if they're not, then they're going to slide off the pace, and obviously competitors going to beat you. So I think it looks like Angus is just hanging in now, and Ryan Brown just starting to put the pedal down.
Yeah, he's certainly putting the squeezes on now, so this could be the critical point of the race. Can Angus Barr cover this little break from Ryan Brown?
Oh, is that big turn that time
it was,
again?
wasn't it? That must have been about 8 metres that time.
Yeah, that's it, but he didn't quite pick him up that time, so I think if Ryan tries it again, then he might just get himself away this time.
Yeah, but it certainly closed the gap considerably. But you're right. If Ryan can just rebuild it again, there's only, I imagine, a number of times Angus can pull that off.
And on the other hand, there might be only so many times that Ryan can really start to stretch it. So, again, evenly poised at this stage.
Certainly is. There's about a metre in it here. Coming to 1,300 metres then. We're just going to be around the 14 minutes, just under 13:58.53. They've upped the pace to 64s now. And still about a metre in it. Angus Barr still very much in touch here. So this is 1,500 metres swimming as you'd really hope to see it, with two swimmers just going at it, hammer and tongs.
This really is fantastic. Two guys going head to head, and we've got 150 metres to go, and the tempo's gradually picking up again. Both swimmers testing each other out to see who's got anything left in the tank.
So there's not a lot in it at all, coming towards 1,400 now. And terrific shots of this battle head to head here. Brought to you by QuipuTV as they go through the 1400. And there's about half a second in it, 15:01.83. And in that one, pretty much Ryan holding the gap here, and once again it's nearly a body length. There's the South Lanarkshire crew. Lovely tummy, Mr. Figgins. Love it. But he's intent on his swimmer, Angus Barr. Don't see Alex Jordan on the pool side, but I'm sure he's around somewhere. So the bell, and you call it from here, because this one is all about guts and determination. Who wants it most then, as they come towards the final turn then? The two of them side by side, and this one's going to go all the way. Angus Barr just with the edge as they come down the final length. He's got the acceleration here. It's going to be Angus Barr, and the South Lanarkshire swimmer is going to take this. A heroic tussle between the two of them, and it's Angus Barr who takes it. What a race, Ali. 16:01.17 against 16:02.52.
Well, we thought that was going to be a really tasty race, and we weren't disappointed, were we? Absolutely fantastic effort from both swimmers. Angus slightly outside his best there, so no, he's got a little bit more in the tank, but Ryan Brown, tough as old boots there, really stuck to his task well and tested Angus all the way to the end. But a great finish from Angus nonetheless. Showed a great turn of speed, and it just shows you it doesn't matter what distance you're swimming, you always need speed.
And a third place for Callum Laurie there, 16:17.15, inside his entry time by about 10 seconds. So I think he will be the bronze medalist. That was faster than the previous heat. So I think the 1, 2, 3 will come up fairly soon. So Ali, I hope you've enjoyed your little stint there. We just see the official result there. Angus Barr, Ryan Brown, Callum Laurie. It's been good having you for that last. So great finish to that one with that last race. We enjoyed that. So yeah, we'll bring Andy Mayer back into the scene. He'll be gutted he missed that last race, I would think.
Well, I just got the exciting racing, and I'm just going to hand back to the quality commentator and Andy Mayer.
Oh, you're too kind to me there, and that was a fantastic finish to that race, and enjoyed listening to you on that as well, Ali. So thank you for being able to take time out of today's session to come and do that for us.
So welcome back, Andy. You had your little lie down, and you're refreshed and raring to go. So
I am
we've
indeed.
got the 100 IM, so there'll be no rest for the next 15 minutes or so. And there you can see the swimmers from the first heat. Just a little pause in proceedings, so it gives us a chance to get our breath back. Just recap on that 1500. So we will be seeing presentations for that at the end of this session after this 100 IM. So we will get a chance to see those three swimmers on the podium.
So yeah, a great way to round up that event there as well, with a head-to-head battle to the touch, which I was just catching just as you and Ali were making the comments there. So brilliant bit of racing.
Yep, and I think we're ready to go now. So something completely different, as they say in Monty Python circles, as we go to the 100 IM. And we got Megan Bowie in 1, Kiana McInnes in 2, Emma Williams in 3, Ailsa Young in 4, Niamh Brett in 5, Katie Gillis in 6, Lucia Duncan in 7, and Catherine Comrie in 8. 1:15s all these swimmers entered on, so we saw a tight one last time. We should see a tight one here. Lane 2, Kiana McInnes, the youngster from Hearts, the 12-year-old, is leading them out. But up with her now in lane 3, in fact just past her, Ailey Collier, 33.09.
That's fantastic. She was a reserve coming into this event here, Duncan, and she's really grabbing hold of it. It's great to see that when you get that chance, you grab it with both hands. So, as we're on the breaststroke leg, And as we swim towards this final turn here, we're going to keep our eyes. Oh, we can't split lanes 5 and 6 on that turn, so it's going to be on the freestyle to see who can race to the wall first.
Chloe O'Hara up at the top of the pool is going really well. I think she might nick this one from the Warrender swimmer, Neve Bretts, between the two of them.
Great spot on that one there, Duncan, and fantastic finish to that first 100 IM.
So it is Chloe who took it. Another reserve taking full advantage with a 3-second improvement on her entry time. She has looked very serious about it. Maybe can't quite believe that she swam so fast. Well done, Chloe. So we're moving on to Heat 2. That's the lineup. Hayley Smith, Scotia in 1, Caitlin Duffy, South Ayrshire in 2, Heather Mulvaney, City of Aberdeen in 3, Anna Balfour, East Lothian in 4, Shannon Crawford of Geary in 5, Jenny Adams of Best in 6, Megan Smith, South Lanarkshire in 7, and Beth Constance of Dundee City Aquatics in 8.
And Shannon Crawford going really well in lane 5 in that blue hat there. She's really opening up quite a lead on this backstroke. We're going to keep an eye up on Hayley Smith right up at the top of the picture as well, who's having a great backstroke leg.
31.21 is quite a bit faster than the first heat for our leader Shannon Crawford.
She's really capitalising on this lead now with a breaststroke that looks very similar to Hannah Miley's.
Wonder why? Oh, she's a Geary swimmer.
So not a bad role model to model your stroke on. And as we turn onto the freestyle, it is still Shannon who's swimming really well. Battle for second place at the moment. That looks like it's just being won by Jenny Adams there in lane 6, but we're going to have to keep an eye on lane 1, Hayley Smith, as well.
No doubt about the winner, though. That was Shannon Crawford, 109.86. A nice PB there, very sizable one of nearly 5 seconds for Shannon. Hayley Smith, you said keep an eye on her with good reason. She won it, won second place, 112.42 from Caitlin Duffy in lane 2. So we'll wait for confirmation of that, as there's a little bit of cogitation going on, I think, from our officials over on the far side.
As we've said all too many times this meet, that the individual medley races, there's a lot of complex moments throughout that race that the judges have to contend with and keep an eye on. So quite a number of things that they can look out for, whether a swimmer's...
In fact, an adjusted time, I think Jenny Adams, so that's the slight delay, and that put her up into third place behind Shannon Crawford and Hayley Smith. On to Heat 3, we have Lexi Waller in 1, Sophie Smith in 2, Stephanie Strang in 3, Gemma Brown in 4, Kirsty McKinley in 5, Ailey Grant in 6, Jessica Damon in 7, and Christy Johnson in 8.
Really hard to split the field at the moment, Duncan, as we watch them go onto the backstroke leg with 7 swimmers all swimming well, but possibly the leader Lexi Waller, do you think, up at the top of the screen, lane 1?
Looks
could
like
be one
it.
to look for.
Another youngster from Hearts, 31.43 for her. They've got some good youngsters, Hearts, at the moment. Club who are coming into a fine run of form. But it's their local rivals, Warrender with Jessica Damon going well in lane 7.
Yeah, this is turned into a really even race here.
And you see Jessica just coming into shot there, and she's, I think, maybe just had the edge beside her. Another Geary swimmer, Christy Johnson. But I think it's going to be Warrender's Jessica Damon looking the strongest in the freestyle, although Lexi Waller is coming right back at her on the top of the pool. So who's going to get the touch? Oh, it's Lexi.
Good spot there, Duncan. Well done.
1:11.71. So 2.5 second improvement for Lexi there, and just nudging out Jessica Damon. So a nice Hearts victory over Warrender. They'll enjoy that. Sophie Smith third, 1:11.94, and the results summarised for you there. Waller first, Damon second, Smith third. So fast and furious here as we come towards the end of our 5th session of these championships. Heat 4 on the blocks. And away they go. Kirsten Laurie in 1, Neve Ritchie in 2, Lucy Thompson in 3, Eve Larson in 4, Claire Dow in 5, Caroline McIntosh in 6, Kelsey Robertson in 7, and Freya Thompson in 8.
And again, hard to split. Freya Thompson going really well down in lane 8 through that fly leg, but it looks like the lead now is with Caroline McIntosh, the green hat, lane 6 from Coast. Looking good through the backstroke leg, but as always in these 100 IMs, very close, all on the touch turns.
Touch with lane 6, Caroline McIntosh of City of Aberdeen, and she's got about a metre going down the breaststroke length, and is extending that now as she goes out from a line of swimmers behind her. So it's the green cap of City of Aberdeen, worn by Caroline McIntosh, going into the freestyle in a very strong position here. On the near side, Freya Thompson of Perth City, you can see at the bottom of your screen. And lane 4, the Sunderland swimmer, also in red, Eve Larson, but all behind the green of Caroline McIntosh, 109.76, just a tenth faster than the previous heat. Or rather, a tenth faster than the second heat that was the previously fastest time. But is now 109.76, Caroline McIntosh, the new fastest time, with 4 heats still to go. So you'd expect them to be cranking it up here as we're about ready to go. Looks like we're missing lane 8 here. So 7 swimmers here. Katie Robertson in 1, Jessica Thompson in 2, Lindsay Sword in 3, Kate Story in 4, Lizzie Cleland in 5, Robin Crawford in 6, and Megan McGee in 7.
And it's Kate Story touching first on that butterfly, so keeping eyes on the middle of the pool for this heat, guys. The blue hat coming up. Oh, lead's now been taken over though by Robin Crawford with a really good underwater work there. It's going to be between those two when we come into the touch. Possibly back on lane 4.
So 2 from the west, Helensburgh and Wren 96. The touch being credited to Robin Crawford there, 32.23, just 500ths in it.
Fantastic underwater from Robin Crawford there though. Each time her underwater on her turns have been great. But just opening the door for Kate Story to swim back through, and keep an eye on Jessica Thompson up at the top of the screen in the green hat.
And Katie Robertson also at the top of the pool, also going well with a terrific breaststroke leg. But you're right, Jessica Thompson is looking like the favourite here. So back-to-back City of Aberdeen swims here. Could be with Jessica taking it, 109.90. Not quite as fast as her teammate Caroline McIntosh in the previous heat, so that's still the fastest time, 109.76. But a good PB nonetheless, 3.5 seconds near enough for Jessica. Kate Story there, as you can see, is second place, 110.95, and Robin Crawford just behind her, 111.02. On to heat 6, Lucy Allen in 1, Bethany Brodie in 2, Ellie Neal in 3, Claire Maloney in 4, Louise Fair in 5, Nikki Miller in 6, Heather Lees in 7, and Lucy Buchan in 8. Lane 7, Heather Lees, the first swimmer in the silver cap, not the normal dark blue of first. But she has got the edge here in the end of the backstroke, but not by much from a whole group of swimmers. 31.88 at the halfway point. Now let's see who can push hard in the breaststroke. Lane 2, Bethany Brodie of South Lanarkshire, another Hearts girl. Louise Fair coming up in lane 5, but it's still Heather Lees in 7 with the advantage, so she's held that and probably increased it in the breaststroke, taking that into the freestyle about 1.5 meters up on the Hearts swimmer Louise Fair. They look like the 1-2 with a tight contest, the South Lanarkshire contest for third. So it's going to be Heather Lees of first taking it. 1:08.90. Louise Fair just holding on to second, 1:09.99, and it was Nikki Miller taking third, 1:10.86. Wait for confirmation of that. So 1:08.90, that's the new fastest time from Heather Lees, and there is the summary. Heather Lees first, Louise Fair second, Nikki Miller third. So second last heat, Katie Taylor in 1, Katie Smith in 2, Katie Wilson in 3, Chanel Snedden in 4, Kirsty Pitts in 5, Sarah Donnelly in 6, Anya Reid in 7, and Laura Harrison in 8.
So Chanel Snedden looking good through the butterfly leg, but close as always through there. Chanel looking really good in the blue hat in lane 4.
So
but this could all change on the breaststroke leg, Duncan.
Yeah, she's already been on the podium, of course, in the 400 freestyle, silver medalist. But Sarah Donnelly just with the touch there, 30.93. That is the fastest we've seen so far.
And it looks like Sarah's really strong on this length, but doesn't look like Chanel wants to let her have this one as she's fighting down through this breaststroke.
Yeah, Chanel has come through strongly in that breaststroke, and she's in a good position going into the freestyle from Sarah Donnelly. Looks like it's the yellow cap of Katie Smith in third place, although on the near side, Laura Harrison and Anya Reid are challenging that. But it's Chanel by quite a margin in the end, coming through 1:07.31. So a nice PB there, and that is faster than any of the entry times from the final heat. So they're going to have their work cut out to beat that. Big 4-second improvement for Chanel there. And there is the summary. 1:07.31 for Chanel Snedden. Sarah Donnelly second, 1:09.63. And Katie Smith third, 1:10.68. So the final heat, Ali Morrison in 1, Sophia Green in 2, Lauren Doughty in 3, Kirsty Armstrong in 4, Karen Reid in 5, Lauren Sutherland in 6, Hannah Fleming in 7, Mari Swanson in 8. So time to beat 1:07.31, and setting out strongly, Karen Reid of South Ayrshire in lane 5. She's got about 1.5 meters advantage over Kirsty Armstrong, so it's South Ayrshire against the borders here. 29.18, that is a lot faster than the previous heat. Really stormed that first half there. Kirsty Armstrong coming right back now though in the breaststroke and rapidly closing the gap. So look at Kirsty go there in the breaststroke leg, and she has pulled it right back here and leads going into the freestyle from Karen Reid. Lauren Doughty in third place, but it looks like Kirsty Armstrong is going to take this one. The 14-year-old best swimmer from Kelso is holding on in the freestyle to take it. 1:05.28. Excellent swim there. Entered on 1:07.96, so 2.5 seconds plus inside that.
Just showing that second 50, you can battle all the way back through to win. Fantastic end to the race in there. That was brilliant.
Karen Reid there confirms second place, 1:06.12, and 1:07.10. Lauren Doughty just sneaking ahead of Chanel Snedden's time from the previous heat, so she will take the bronze. So that will be the 1, 2, 3 overall, and you can see it summarized for you there. Armstrong first, Reid second, Doughty third as the event is scrolled through. So we've come to the end again. We've still got some presentations to do, but we're done with the swimming for session 5. Of course, you're a part-timer in that one, but did you enjoy the session?
I did indeed. I enjoyed the session for the parts that I was here for, and also got to watch some of the 1500s that you and Ali were commenting on from a couple of different vantage points as well. And it's just a fantastic pool to be here at, and the racing's just, it's been electric, and I've really enjoyed all the performances that we've seen again today. looking down on the pool side, we can see a couple of the teams now, and so important for the coaches to share information, not just with the swimmers, but with each other, as we see Andy Figgins of South Lanarkshire talking to John Sharanek of Carnegie. So it's by them sharing ideas and their understandings of the different racing that makes Scottish swimming as a whole stronger, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's one of the big changes I think we've seen in recent years, is that coaches now are seen as a single team bringing on Scottish swimming, as well as, of course, of wanting to do the best for their individual programs. So it's all about sharing of ideas, as you said. There's our hardy bunch of officials.
And they've done a fantastic job today, and as have the racers. We definitely know that we're starting to collect some of our favourite racing, but we'd love to hear about some of the favourites of you guys watching at home. So if you could send us in some tweets at hashtag SGSC13 live of your favourite swims of this session and also of the meet so far, that would be fantastic to read what your thoughts have been so far. And we also have an Instagram competition going on, so please do send those pictures in of the swimming that you're enjoying to hashtag SGSC13 pics, and we could have one of your pictures pulled out to win one of 5 guidebooks to Glasgow. So it'd be fantastic to see what kind of pictures they can come up with for that.
There is the hashtag on your screen there, just to remind you once again, as we see some shots of the pool as we go towards the end of this session. We still, of course, have some presentations to go before we finish. Remind our
and we have some links down at the bottom here. So the first one here, the Ticketmaster link, if we can think that's for the Scottish Gas National Championships at Tollcross, 3rd till the 6th of April. The Duel in the Pool is next weekend, so get to that site there for tickets for next weekend. And also the third link that we saw there, there are early bird tickets for the Scottish Swimming Awards at the Kelvin Art Gallery as well. So in that order, first one were tickets for the championships next summer. The second one was Duel in the Pool to watch Europe take on America in Tollcross Swimming Pool, and the third again is the early bird tickets for the Scottish Swimming Awards. So definitely check those out for us, guys.
And a nice shot there of the diving boards, and they're going to be in action next summer as well. They'll be climbing those steps to the top of the diving boards for the diving competition at the Commonwealth Games, which will take place here at the Royal Commonwealth Pool. This will be the first venue in the history of the Commonwealth Games to have held 3 different Commonwealth Games competitions. So
that is an incredible feat, and those diving boards do look incredible as well, but they're also incredibly high, Duncan, and I'd love to see those guys diving off them, but rather them than me.
So the likes of Tom Daly will be there, hopefully next July, performing from those boards. The high boards there, top 110 meters, of course. So,
and as we can see, that great view of the pool there, it now spans out to see Carnegie's flag with some of the up-and-coming swimmers in the corner there. Craig Brodie, he'll be in that 200 butterfly men's event tonight.
So I think we're ready for our presentations now. So we're going to see the boys 1500 freestyle, that terrific race that we saw between Angus Barr and Ryan Brown, and good to see them getting their medals. Hopefully we're going to see that in a moment. Here they come, just making their way to the podium there. And a nice PB for the bronze medalist there on your right hand side of your shot. And that is the first swimmer, Callum Lowry.
Is Callum Lowry representing first.
So nice swim from him, and what a battle it was. Ryan Brown, a terrific PB, just missing out in the end, but a well-deserved silver medal for him. And top of the field, South Lanarkshire's Angus Barr. Time of 16:01.17. And I'm sure he'll enjoy taking that medal and seeing off that mighty challenge from Ryan Brown. Last piece of action from this session is the presentation for the 100 IM. That will be coming up right now. And there are the girls. So it was the Dundee City Aquatic swimmer Lauren Doughty taking the bronze. Karen Reid, a blistering first half to her swim, the South Ayrshire swimmer, silver medalist, but really turned it around in the second half. Best swimmer, Kirsty Armstrong. Bob Reekie there, Scottish swimming stalwart, making those presentations. Former president, a great swimmer from the Warrender Club in his time, and a great official, has been involved in many capacities in Scottish swimming over a large number of years. So that's just about us done then for session 5. Of course, we'll be back pretty soon. We've got swimming starting at 5:30. We'll be on air about 10 minutes ahead of that, around about 5:20. So get some tea in, check out the football scores, and join us once again just before 5:30 for what should be a fantastic second set of finals in the Scottish Gas National Short Course Championships from the Royal Commonwealth Pool. But for now, from Andy Mayer and myself, Duncan McKinnell, a very good afternoon to you.
2013, 2014, even better.
It'll be a great night just to catch up, relax, and as a swimmer actually get to dress up and look normal.
And then a chance to see lots of people from all around different parts of swimming and have a good evening with them.
The awards ceremony was fantastic, with most people turned out ever, so years to come it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Tickets for the Scottish Gas National Open Swimming Championships are on sale now.
The wait is over.
Buy your tickets at ticketmaster.co.uk/Scottish Swimming or phone 08 444 999 990.
Come down to the Tallcross International Swimming Centre to come see me and more than 700 other swimmers compete.
The Scottish Gas National Open Swimming Championships, Tallcross International Swimming Centre, 3rd to the 6th of April 2014.